Alrighty, welcome back everybody to our latest live stream. I think we are live. Hope everybody's having a good afternoon so far. We have a breaking situation just west of Houston, Texas. There's actually a tornado warning that was just issued west of Houston, and this storm is actually a bit more concerning. I wasn't planning on going live today, but the problem is this storm is going towards a very populated area, and we do have a QLCS tornado threat embedded with any of these lines of storms that we have going through this area, so we could end up getting a tornado, and this storm looks like it is about to produce a tornado if it is not already. So we are going to kind of break this down for you as it continues to track to the east going towards Houston, Texas. Notice this storm right now on the short view radar site, so just about 10-15 miles east of this. We do have a very definitive hook echo right now and also a very strong inflow, and that is going to give us an idea here that we could end up seeing a tornado with this particular storm. And this is the latest radar scan. Notice how much this is wrapping right now. We have a serious amount of wrapping here. This is your inflow, got a hook echo and everything just to the south of Waller, just south of Prairie View. This is going to definitely be capable of producing a tornado if it's not already on the ground. So if you're near Waller, Texas, or even just west of Cypress, Texas, you're going to want to make sure that you are using that tornado action plan now and seeking shelter immediately away from windows and on the lowest floor possible. Once again, bit of a concerning storm. I wasn't planning on going live, but this storm really caught my attention on the short span radar site, and again, it's a very populated area that is again going to be going towards Houston, Texas over the next several minutes. These are the velocities that we have from the other radar site, so the one that is more regional, and this one gives you an idea of the very strong velocities just over areas south of Waller. It is indicating wind speeds upwards of 90 to 100 miles per hour a little bit off the ground. So some of those winds could be reaching the surface, and that could definitely cause some damage, perhaps even some power lines going down, trees going down. We could even see some flying trampolines. All that sort of thing, all those sorts of things are going to be in play here with this storm as it does continue to track to the east-southeast. They have issued a new severe thunderstorm warning as well for the segment of storms that we have. That is going to be for damaging winds up to 70 miles per hour, and as well as the potential still for an isolated tornado as this continues to track to the east, eventually going towards the Houston metro area. Once again, this is your rotation right here. It is pretty strong right now, and we definitely could have a tornado at any time. Don't have a CC drop quite yet, which means that we don't have any debris that is being detected by radar that is being lifted up into the atmosphere, but that's not out of play here. It definitely could lift up some debris as this does continue to move down to the southeast over the next several minutes and eventually tracking towards Houston. Even if we don't get a tornado here, we are definitely going to be watching for some substantial damaging winds upwards of 70 to perhaps even 85 miles per hour as this goes towards Houston, Texas. So if you are in Houston, you need to be staying vigilant and be staying weather aware as this continues to move east-southeast. It will be producing a threat for some significant damaging winds and perhaps even an isolated tornado or two. Now notice a widespread view of things right now. We have a lot of other severe weather. Currently we are at 11 severe thunderstorm warnings and 1 tornado warning, and again, this is your 1 tornado warning. We could see more tornado warnings though down the road. We just had one in Wisconsin like 30 minutes ago, kind of out of the ordinary there. We still have a bunch of other severe storms as well. Again, we're not probably gonna be live super long today like we usually are. It might be like 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, but we will have the potential for hail and damaging winds in other parts of Texas and Louisiana as we continue to go throughout the evening hours. So definitely make sure that you're staying weather aware. But really the greatest concern right now again is this tornado warning that is just to the west-northwest of Houston, and it definitely could drop a tornado as it does continue to move towards Cypress, Jersey Village, and eventually going towards Houston, at least with this particular QLCS tornado that is trying to develop. And once again, this is a close-up radar site. It gives you more of an idea of at least what the reflectivity actually looks like closer, to where the storm is. And again, notice that hook echo. We have a very definitive hook right here, got a very strong inflow, and if we do have a tornado, it's likely going to be located just south of Waller. So again, if you are in this warning, continue to stay in your safe place away from windows and on the lowest floor possible, and in an interior room of your home or building as this does continue to track to the east-southeast, eventually again going try to at least go towards Houston, Texas. And this is still radar indicated from what I'm seeing. So, again, not confirmed as of right now, but it could try to drop a tornado at any time as it moves east-southeast. By the way, for those that are wondering where I am, I know a lot of people are going to be asking. I am on a golfing trip in South Carolina. I am not in my studio. You can obviously tell there's nothing behind me that looks like a studio, but I do have my laptop and I have my monitor. I still have the old setup, essentially. We still have the Stream Deck, so I can still change things over if I need to. But for those that are wondering, I know a lot of you guys are wondering, that is where we're currently at. Now, obviously, the live streams this week, I was only planning on doing on an emergency type basis. If there's something really significant happening, we would go live, and I think this is significant enough to the point where we had to go live, because it is going towards a very populated area. The 2 tornado warnings we had earlier, the rotation was weak, and also the storms were in very rural areas. This one, unfortunately, is going towards a very populated metro area, and that's Houston. So we have to watch this very closely in case it does try to produce a tornado. By the way, Tucker, can you post this? I don't know if you already have, but make sure to post this if you haven't already. And also, my mics might sound a little bit different. It's the same microphone, it's just I'm a bit further away from it. I couldn't get any closer, so that's also something to keep in mind. All right. And again, if you're just tuning in, this is a tornado warning, again, just to the west-northwest of Houston, Texas. Again, very populated area is where this is going to be heading towards. It is still 32 miles away from the downtown area of Houston, but it is beginning to enter into the suburbs near Waller and eventually going towards Cypress. So again, if you are in this tornado warning, continue to stay in your storm shelter, basement, closet, or bathroom, and away from windows and on the lowest floor possible. We still have a very big surge of damaging winds, so upwards of 70 to 80 mile per hour damaging winds will be possible as this does move to the east-southeast, eventually going towards areas like Jersey Village and Cypress. And again, it could definitely produce a tornado as it does go into the Houston area. Also, what is this near Roman Forest? That might just be, yeah, that's just wind, all right. So a lot of the stuff up here to the north, just for reference, is outflow-driven storm activity. So a lot of this activity is not going to produce tornadoes. It would be mostly wind, maybe an isolated brief tornado. Really, we're watching for the greatest tornado risk out of this storm activity here. So the stuff that's near Magnolia and then back near Columbus, this is really where we're going to be watching for that greatest tornado potential. And anything that gets a little bit of an inflow notch going, like this particular storm does, we definitely could get a tornado out of. And again, this is unfortunately moving towards areas like Pasadena, Houston, Alief, Sugar Land, and Rosenberg and Pearland, and eventually towards League City. And again, a lot of these areas are populated, and unfortunately we're gonna have this potential for a tornado or two, and also some scattered to numerous damaging winds. But there's also a really significant flooding threat that is beginning to develop, not in Houston but north of Houston. We have this train effect that's happening, and that's going to continue to dump lots and lots of rain. There will be some isolated locations north of Houston that pick up as much as 12 inches of rain tonight. So really concerning stuff there, and I wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting maybe a flash flood emergency in some location over that direction. And again, this is a storm just west of Houston. Again, it just has an unbelievable inflow notch and a really incredible hook echo here on radar. It is a relatively large hook, so once again, this definitely could produce a tornado at any time. Unfortunately, this radar site doesn't show velocities very clearly, but it does show the hook shape on the reflectivity, and once again, it is a really defined inflow and hook. It wouldn't surprise me, again, if we got a tornado out of this. It's a very organized storm. They may even issue a new tornado warning for Cypress and Jersey Village here in just a moment. So if you're in those areas, definitely stay vigilant. You might get a warning there momentarily. Yeah, this hook is pretty incredible. I mean, again, we are looking at a short-range radar site, so the view is naturally going to be a bit different, but it's still really unbelievable how this hook looks on radar right now. It's definitely one of its most definitive features here that we have on radar. Hey, Zach, for the $4.99. Yeah, I mean, it was crazy, and I actually watched back the Sulfur, that Sulfur stream, and man, it's really crazy, everything that happened there. Yeah, even last week, I don't know if you're talking about Louisiana or Sulphur, Oklahoma, but Sulphur, Louisiana from this past week was insane. Just everything that happened in that moment was just crazy. I mean, yeah. I watched that back, and it might be one of the craziest live streams that we've had, at least for like a 20 or 30 minute span there. We had 3 confirmed tornadoes with that. We were able to confirm 2 in real time, but that storm was just crazy. And again, if you're just tuning in west of Houston, again, we do still have a tornado warning for 4 more minutes. Again, they may issue a new one. I think they will, just due to the fact, I mean, again, this hook echo is really just crazy on radar. The other thing that we need to keep in mind here is that any storms that do have any sort of notches like this, so again, like a very strong inflow notch with a clean hook echo, that's basically what we would talk about with a QLCS tornado, and this would be an example of that, where we could get a tornado with this embedded in this line of storms, and there you go. There's your new tornado warning.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
All right, so brand new tornado warning now. That's going to be just west of Houston. Again, if you're in Houston, you need to stay vigilant because this storm is heading your direction. Cypress and Jersey Village, you are now newly added to this tornado warning. If you are in the pink polygon, you need to seek shelter. That's away from windows and on the lowest floor possible, and also in an interior room of your home or building. This also includes Bridgeland, Villages of Cypress Lakes, and Lakewood Forest. So again, if you are in the pink polygon, you need to seek shelter. This storm is quite dangerous. If it does produce a tornado, I would rule out an isolated strong tornado. Velocities, again, not looking super impressive, but we have a very strong hook echo, or really strong inflow, I should say, and also a very defined hook echo. And so this definitely could produce a tornado at any time as it continues to move east, southeast, and southeast. Now, if this does continue beyond this point, which is very uncertain, this would be going towards Houston. This is for Hoakley, Satsuma, and Addix, Texas. Those are the exact locations. Other locations that are also in this warning. All right. Again, this is where we would be watching for a tornado. If there is a tornado, it's going to be in that little hook that I just drew there, so just west-southwest of Cypress, Texas. That would be, if there is a tornado, that is where it would be. The main radar site is showing velocities at 100. Yeah, again, even if it doesn't have a tornado, I mean, that's a little bit off the ground, but, you know, even if there isn't a tornado, we are still talking about significant damaging winds. That's undoubtable. Now, good news is that nothing's been confirmed here, but unfortunately, you know, if we do get a tornado, again, this is not something that can be ruled out. If we, you know, we could end up seeing an isolated strong tornado. With velocities that strong, it's not impossible. Now, I do think the velocities are not 100, just for reference. I think that's a little bit off the ground. Now, with that said, we definitely could have some wind speeds in here that are upwards of 70 to 80 miles per hour. You can see here the velocity is 110. I don't think it's that high, but, you know, perhaps closer to the ground, it's going to be somewhere in the ballpark of, you know, maybe 70 or maybe 85, but it doesn't really matter what the wind speed is. You should be, you know, in your safe place no matter what if you're in either the severe thunderstorm warning or the tornado warning. They hype those for the 1 month member. Max be like, vacation, what is that? I know, right? I actually, you know, whenever I have a vacation, it usually turns into something that when we go live or something like that. That's what happened. You know, I was on a cruise back in December and I still worked over that cruise, and that was back, you know, last year. So I ended up buying Starlink Wi-Fi or whatever, and we still worked. And, you know, this is kind of the same situation. You know, we're working. But I think it's a good reason to go live, though. I mean, again, this is going towards a very populated area. And as I mentioned before, you know, storms like this are the ones that can be very dangerous. And, you know, we had a couple tornado warnings earlier, but they were relatively rural. This one is much more going into at least the direction of a very populated city in the United States. So I do think this warrants at least a emergency live stream here, even though I'm technically, you know, on vacation. But, you know, we have our setup. I brought the setup in case something like this happened. We are in May. For the record, things like this do happen a lot, so it's always good to have a backup plan. Now, once again, if you're just tuning in, this is west of Houston. Again, that is your hook echo right there. Inflow going into the storm is very strong. And if we do get a tornado, it would be right around where that black X is. So just west of Cypress, it's going to be going towards Jersey Village, Texas next, and eventually going towards Houston. Scenic Woods, Mount Houston, and Bel-Air will need to be on alert for this area of storms. Even if it doesn't produce a tornado in that area, it could still produce significant damaging winds. The wind is nuts right now. Are you in this area? Yeah, I mean, the winds are going to definitely be high. There's just no doubt. Yeah, this is a relatively crazy-looking storm. If we even go back a few scans here, you'll see it, too. Just an unbelievably, you know, shaped hook echo here. And the inflow is just so clean. But again, we are looking at a radar site that's going to have at least a lower resolution, which means that we see more pixels. And so it kind of at least has a better representation here of that inflow notch. But still a relatively organized storm. Now, if we look from the radar site that's back down near League City, which is the more regional radar site, again, it just doesn't really show much rotation. It shows more wind. Even then, it also doesn't really show that inflow notch as well. But as we get closer to Houston, it will probably show that feature more. We just can't see it from that distance because, I guess, again, this radar site's like 20 miles away, maybe. Yeah, it's about 17 miles, and the other one near League City is over 50 miles away. So that feature kind of gets lost because we are just looking so far away from the radar site. By the way, my mic sounds good, right? I'm not really cutting out too much. I just want to make sure. You're in traffic? Yeah, stay safe. There's a lot of traffic in Houston. I watched Storm Runner Media go through traffic the other day, and they're actually looking at a storm right now. I'm not sure where they are. Let me figure that out real quick. But yeah, there's a lot of traffic in Houston. So stay safe if you are in Houston. You know, you get stuck in traffic. Definitely stay safe. They're in Magnolia, Texas. Is that near this? They're looking at some dark clouds. I just need to figure out where that is real quick. I've not really been watching them. Oh, they're okay. So they're actually not far from the storm activity. All right, so you know, if they do see anything, we'll pull them up. They're you know, just a little north of this particular storm. So we'll keep a close eye on that. And again, if you're just tuning in, this is again a tornado warning if you're in Cypress or Jersey Village, Texas. Again, just west of Houston. If we have a tornado, it's more than likely going to be more rain wrapped, and it would be moving east-southeast going towards Jersey Village. Again, this is still radar indicated rotation, so there's nothing confirmed as of right now, but it is going to be something to watch for. You know, it's going again towards a very populated area here in Texas, and that's Houston. If you know any friends or family in Houston, you know, give them a call, give them a text, make sure that they're in their safe place. New velocity scans coming in right now, so we will wait for that. I'm moving my fleet of Porsches into my garage ASAP. That is a weird flex. Like, sounds great, thank you. Okay, just want to make sure. All right, here's the latest radar scan coming in right now. Again, this will be going towards Jersey Village, Texas. It's near Cypress right now. If there's a tornado, it would be located somewhere kind of up in here, so just southwest of Cypress, if we do have a tornado, which, again, nothing confirmed to this point. Let's check out the correlation coefficient. All right, so still no debris signature, so good news so far on that end. Again, this is your storm right here. Those are the velocities. Even if we don't have a tornado, we still probably have damaging winds at least around 70 to 80 miles per hour. It definitely could be higher, though, as that moves east-southeast. And again, Houston's in the direct path of this, so if we do end up seeing either a tornado or just a damaging wind threat, the most significant area of wind right now is on a beeline to hit the metro and even suburbs areas here of Houston. So if you are in the Houston area, you need to take the storm seriously. You got a few minutes if you're in Houston. You know, if you have any loose line items outside, quickly run those in. If you hear thunder, though, go indoors. Don't, you know, go outside if you're in any of these warnings. But if you hear thunder, definitely don't go outside or see any lightning. Just too dangerous. But if you have any last second things that you can just kind of quickly run inside, you're probably going to see some damaging winds really anywhere in Houston or near Spring or even near the Woodlands back through Sugarland. So make sure that you are protecting loose line items and, you know, hatching down trampolines if you've yet to do so. I saw a car parked on top of a trampoline that was flipped upside down. I mean, you could do that too. I don't know how in the world they did that, but that is also something that you could technically do to hatch that down. Now, again, if we do have a tornado, this is the latest scan, and right here, I think, is where we have the greatest circulation. Let's go to velocities. Yeah, there's a little tightening right over the south side of the Bridgeland, Texas area. So we may have a tornado there. Let me see if that's the inflow, though. No, that could be a tornado. We don't have a CC radar from this vantage point, or this particular radar site, but if there is a tornado, that is where it would be. South side of Bridgeland, Texas, going towards Town Lake, and just south of Cypress. Mikey, Bel Air does not need to seek shelter, but you will be in the track of this. Maybe not the rotation, but you'll at least be in track of the wind threat. Lights flickered in College Station. Yeah, I mean, again, if you get hit without any storms today, I mean, they're more than likely at least going to have some element of wind. So we definitely could see some power flickers or whatever that might be. Yeah, Bel Air doesn't have to be in your safe place yet, but, you know, keep a close eye on the radar because, or at least just keep a close eye on the sky because this storm will be going that direction, at least with some level of damaging winds and maybe even a brief tornado. New radar scan on this particular radar site should be out in a moment. So we'll see if this kind of verifies over the next couple of scans, because if we do have a tornado, it would be that right there near Bridgeland. That's awesome, Connor. Make sure everything's right here. Nope, warning counter is way off. There we go. All right. Power flickering in Katy, Texas. So again, power flickering there as well. All right, let's go back to, I'm not sure if this other radar site updated yet. Did update. I'm not seeing a debris signature, which is, again, good news for now. Hopefully it stays that way. Let's see this other radar site. Yeah, that radar site's not going to show anything. All right, we'll go back to this one. Here is the latest radar scan on the radar site that we've been looking at for a while now. So again, if there is a tornado, it would likely be there. Again, just south of Cypress, Texas, moving towards Satsuma in Jersey Village. Let me go back to reflectivity again. Yeah, that's where we're looking for the tornado. That's where we still have an inflow notch, which again, that inflow is going to really just kind of, make this storm basically spin more. And then also we have that hook echo right there. So if we have a tornado, again, it would be pretty close to the states of Highland Creek, just west of Jersey Village, and just south of the villages of Cypress Lakes, just south of Cypress, Texas. So if you are again in the pink polygon, you need to seek shelter. That's away from windows and on the lowest floor possible. And all right, still radar indicated, so we have nothing confirmed once again, but I'm just again prefacing that if there is a tornado, I'm kind of circling where it would approximately be. So but we still don't have anything confirmed as of right now. It is still radar indicated rotation. Just some more details on this. This will be heading towards Jersey Village in the Addicks Park 10 around 6:15 p.m. That's Central Time. It is moving east at 45 miles per hour, so this is on track to hit Houston probably in about 20 to 30 minutes or so. Again, flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter, so again, make sure that you are in your safe place. If you're in a mobile home out in front of this, you need to make sure that you have an alternate plan to go to a sturdy structure, because if this does drop a tornado, it could obviously damage a mobile home. And even if it doesn't do that, wind could even do it. Not just tornadoes. Wind in general, straight line damaging winds upwards of 70 to 80 miles per hour could heavily damage a mobile home. And mobile homes are not safe really anywhere you are in that building, so you need to make sure you're finding a sturdy structure. If you're out in front of this in a mobile home, like Humble, Texas, Mount Houston, Scenic Woods, any of those areas, you need to be finding an alternate safe place, because this storm, again, will be on track to hit those areas here relatively soon. And again, if it doesn't produce a tornado, you're probably at least going to get some level of damaging winds. The radar's been estimating upwards of 70 to 85 mile per hour winds for a while now at this area of storms, and that could definitely be an impact there to either Houston or Humble or Kingwood or Bel Air or Pasadena, any of those areas basically in the track of this. Hey, radar. Yeah, I'll talk about my golfing trip if there's no tornado warnings or anything. I'll talk about it a little bit. I'm actually sunburned, so I've been out the last couple days. But if we had a chance to do so, I'll definitely talk about it. Power flickers south of Cypress. Thank you for the report. Channel 13 in Houston clocking 104 mile per hour winds right now. Yeah, I mean, I could do the same. It's not that hard. I mean, again, if you just look at the velocities radar from this distance and this vantage point, you will see the velocities that are that high. But again, I do think a lot of this is still well off the ground. 112 mile per hour winds right there. So there you go. But again, these winds that you're seeing here on the velocities are still a bit off the ground. They're not at the surface. With that said, a lot of the winds are probably reaching the surface. At least around 70 to 80% of that is probably reaching the surface, which in contrast is probably going to be damaging winds around 70 to even 85, maybe even 90 miles per hour. That's actually reaching the ground near Jersey Village. Because don't forget, the radar that we're looking at, the radar beam is going into the sky. So this wind is going to be somewhere around probably, 4, 5, 6,000 feet off the ground. It's not, necessarily right at the surface. Now, again, with that said, a lot of that wind is probably still happening at the surface. Just not all of it. I am in Spring, Texas, and said the power's flickering. Thank you for the report. What app is this? This is Radar Omega. The link to download's down there somewhere in the description. Power out Magnolia. Yeah, we're going to get a lot of power outages. It's almost undoubtable. With a storm system like this, I mean, again, we're talking about numerous damaging winds, and if you look at the velocities, again, I mean, it's a huge area of damaging winds. This is the main area. It's near Cypress and north of Alief, going again towards Houston. North and south of this, we still have damaging winds. They're just not nearly as high. They're around 60 to probably 75 miles per hour. That dark blue and pink area near Cypress is almost undoubtedly going to be somewhere around 80 to maybe even 85 miles per hour. So the most significant area of this is going through Cypress. Now, Magnolia is further up here to the north, and I know Stormrunner Media is in that general vicinity, and if you look at the velocities up here that are being estimated by radar, they're around 50, but I kind of think that's a bit of an underestimate. So, I definitely think they're a bit higher. This tornado warning, by the way, does expire in 18 minutes. The rotation itself is going to be moving out of this tornado warning within probably the next 10 minutes. So, you know, if they issue a new tornado warning, it'll probably be in the next like 6 or 7 minutes. And if there is a new one, it'll probably include Jersey Village, Hudson, Spring Branch West, and perhaps even Houston could be included in a tornado warning. That is if they issue a new one. I'm not sure if they will. I have no clue. I don't have an insider source here. But if they do issue a new one, it will be going towards the Aldine area, Hudson, Scenic Woods, possibly even towards Houston. It remains uncertain. I mean, we still have a lot of rotation there, at least appearing on radar. Winds going away from the radar are very strong. Going towards the radar, it's definitely broader, but I honestly do think we have enough rotation here to the point where we could end up getting a, you know what? Oh, well, there you go. New tornado warning.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
All right. This is a big deal because this includes a lot of people. If you are in Houston, Texas, you need to seek shelter. That also includes Bel Air, by the way. Tucker, make sure to post this as well. Again, new tornado warning now for Jersey Village, Houston, Texas. It also includes areas near Bel Air, north of Leaf. If you are in this pink polygon, you need to make sure that you're seeking shelter now. That is away from windows and on the lowest floor possible, and also in an interior room of your home or building and away from windows. Again, this includes a very populated area here in Texas. I'm not sure what the exact population is. I'll figure that out in a second. But regardless, if you're anywhere in the pink polygon, you got to seek shelter. This is a very serious situation because if we do get a tornado, it is impacting a lot of people. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Even if we don't get a tornado, we are still talking about significant damaging winds upwards of 70 to 85 miles per hour. And it's going to occur, basically going to occur anywhere in this pink polygon. So if you're in Jersey Village, Bel Air, Houston, and also zoom in a little bit more here. Hunters Creek Village, Spring Branch West, Foster Place, Westwood Park, Magnolia Park, basically anywhere surrounding Houston here in this pink polygon, you need to go to your safe place. That's a storm shelter, basement, closet, or bathroom. This is, again, a relatively dangerous storm. It is a very populated area here in the Houston area. Obviously, Houston's included in this, so it's going to be very populated. Population is 2 million people, so this is a lot of people. So 2 million people just in this pink polygon. So again, if you're in the pink polygon, you've got to seek shelter. This is a very dangerous storm. Also, the severe thunderstorm warning for this area just expired. They may issue a new one there. That'd be probably for the damaging wind threat. And also, we're down to 5 severe thunderstorm warnings, at least temporarily. So there you go. Look at the velocities. I mean, this is just crazy. We got damaging winds surging right now towards Houston. Even if we don't get a tornado, we got a significant damaging wind threat about to roll right into Houston. I'm not sure what the exact wind speeds are, but velocities are estimating upwards of 100 to 110 miles per hour. I don't think it's that high, but obviously this is a very significant situation where the damaging wind threat could even outweigh the tornado risk if the winds are actually that high. I'm not sure if they are. The radar, again, is looking a bit higher up into the sky, but they are probably at least in the range of 70 to 85 miles per hour. But man, these velocities for over 20 minutes now have been literally over 100 miles per hour on radar, and so you know there's a chance that they're that high right now just near the Jersey Village area. I am trying to see if we have any sort of information on the exact wind speeds. I'm not sure if we've had any sort of report on that end. I'm not seeing any sort of debris signature again, so the good news so far is that we don't have a confirmed tornado. This is now officially a destructive storm, so we are now officially on a destructive severe thunderstorm warning for Houston, and also surrounding areas like Spring, Humble, Kingwood, Pasadena, and Leaf, where there's going to be a threat for damaging winds that are as high as 80 miles per hour. So they've officially gone ahead and upgraded the severe thunderstorm warning now to a destructive storm. See if we have any sort of reports. By the way, if you have any reports, see any reports on Twitter, you can at me at MaxVelocityWX, and I'll try to relay those. I'm in Houston right now. Stay safe. This is a very dangerous storm. Even if it doesn't produce a tornado, it's still very dangerous with the wind threat. Once again, Houston, Texas is included in this warning. So if you're in Houston right now, which is again over about 2 million people that are in this pink polygon, you need to make sure that you're seeking shelter. This is again a relatively dangerous storm if it does produce. Again, we have Storm Runner Media storm chasing with us. They are not far from this area, so we'll see if they end up seeing anything. I believe they are just a little bit north of the storm. Trying to verify that real quick. We got a new radar scan coming in also, so we'll see if there's any updates on the velocities. Yeah, so right now Storm Runner Media is kind of in the bulk of the rain, so they are kind of just off to the north, near like Clean. They are still heavily basically in a heavily rain-wrapped area. Here's that latest radar scan. We'll see what the velocities show. Yeah, we still got an inflow notch up here, so if we get a tornado, it's probably going to be rain-wrapped. It would be just northwest of Houston. So that's where, again, this is heading down to the southeast, so we'll be on track for Houston here pretty soon. Houston, we do have a problem. Yeah, I mean, if we do get a tornado, this is just, I mean, again, it's hard to tell if we're actually going to get a tornado because the velocities have not been really strong when it comes to a, you know, organized couplet, right? But we have very high winds. So even if we don't get a tornado, I think this is going to be a destructive storm no matter what in the Houston area and as well as Bel Air, where again, this area of velocities that stretches from Jersey Village back down just north of a leaf, that area of wind here is still estimated to be around 80 to 100 miles per hour, a little bit off the ground, which probably again translates to damaging winds at the surface between 70 to 85 miles per hour. So regardless of there being a tornado, this is still a very destructive storm right now that is going to be heading right into Houston, Texas. So again, if you are in this tornado warning, you need to be taking this seriously. It does not matter if it produces a tornado or not. We are still going to be seeing significant, or not significant damage, but at least some destructive damage to potentially shingles. Trees could fall down. We could have power lines that fall down. I mean, all those sorts of things are in play with this sort of wind speed. Again, 80 mile per hour winds are essentially like a strong EF0 tornado. It's not really different. It's straight line winds, but you know what I mean. It's again still a relatively significant threat here that's rolling right into Houston right now. Check CC. Yeah, still nothing definitive here. I mean, again, we don't have a definitive. We've not had a definitive debris signature at all with this. You know, with that said, again, you know, even if there wasn't a tornado, again, we could still see very significant damaging winds roll right into this area. So it is still a very dangerous storm no matter what happens in the Houston area. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is a tornado warning. Again, very populated area. It's Houston, Texas. Approximately 2 million people in the warning. Again, if you're tuning in from this area, make sure you're seeking shelter. If you have any friends or family in this pink polygon, give them a call or text and make sure that they're in their safe place. Luckily, this is happening during the day and not the night. Because if this was happening during the night, it could be much worse and much more dangerous, and a lot of people would be sleeping. But luckily, it's daytime. Most people should be awake. So again, if you are in this pink polygon, just make sure you're seeking shelter. If you know any friends or family here, again, give them a call or text and make sure that they're in their safe place as well. But yeah, I mean, the wind is just insane on this. The storm relative velocities, which I think are going to be a bit more accurate here, are showing about 90 mile per hour winds. So still really strong winds here moving right into Houston. Now, again, the normal high-res velocities are showing upwards of 110 miles per hour. I don't think it's that high, just for the record, but I do think they're closer to 80 to 90 miles per hour moving right into Houston. And even surrounding areas could still see that threat. So if you're in Humble or Kingwood or Spring, or Leaf or Pasadena, you should all be in your safe place. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning, which is the yellow box here, includes this entire area. So if you're anywhere in that yellow box, you should be taking the same precautions as if you were in a tornado warning, because we're again going to have some trees falling more than likely from this. We're also going to have flying debris potentially, so flying trampolines in play. You don't want a trampoline going right through your window when you have your TikTok out trying to, you know, get a video for TikTok or whatever. Again, you want to be seeking shelter. You want to be staying away from windows and again on the lowest floor possible. And you know, just unfortunately, this entire storm right now is just producing significant damaging winds that goes up and down from Tomball all the way back down towards the Leaf. It's a very large area that's dealing with the most significant wind threat right now. Even the close-up radar site is still showing that 80 plus mile per hour wind speeds going right into the Houston area. And it looks like the highest of the wind will be going right into Houston, or it might just be on the south or west side of Houston. And so, again, unfortunately, this is going into a very, very populated and very, very densely populated area in Houston. All right, what time is it right now? All right, 6:22. So this is the latest radar scan. I'm not seeing any sort of debris signature right now. Or maybe we are. Wait. What is this right here? We might have something. Just north of Hunter's Creek. Trying to line this up here. Is this new? Alright, that might just be a glitch. It's hard to tell. If we do a tornado, that actually could be near Jersey Village, though. There's no really tightening there on the velocities. So it's definitely not definitive if we have a tornado there. But again, there could be a tornado anywhere just east of Jersey Village. And I'll be going towards Houston. Can't really confirm it, though. I'm going to see if I can try to... We got another radar scan coming in now, so we'll see if that kind of matches up 2 scans in a row. Velocities were not really strong there, so I don't think it is, but... Alright, they have just condensed the tornado warning. It is still ongoing. Again, it is still radar indicated if you are in Houston, Bel Air, just south of Mount Houston as well. It includes areas like Highland Heights, near Northwest, Spring Branch West, Hunters Creek Village, Interstate 610, all those areas included again in this tornado warning. Let me see if we can get another let me look at the latest radar scan here. Yeah, I'm not seeing that debris signature, so I think that was just a glitch there. But regardless, we still have very strong winds, and we still could get a tornado at any time. The heart of this storm is going to be moving right into Houston over the next about 6 or 7 minutes. Again, this is a very fast-moving area of storms. It'll basically be out of here in the blink of an eye. So it's moving southeast at 40 miles per hour. If you're in Houston, Bel Air, you need to be in your storm shelter, basement, closet, or bathroom. It's going to be heading towards Pasadena in about 10 to 15 minutes. Down the road, this particular area of rotation will be moving towards areas like League City and Baytown. So if you're in those locations, have that tornado action plan ready, as that activity could still produce a tornado down the road as this activity of storms moves down to the southeast. Sounds like a lot of people are losing power. I've been seeing a lot of people talking about power loss in the chat. By the way, this is Storm Runner Media right now inside of the storm. Wow.
But it's not the tornado. No, it's not
That's like the wind core right there. I don't know how in the world they can even see.
We didn't enter into the back.
Look at that wind. I'm not sure where my radar is. Alright. Try to get the radar on here. Now, if you're a student, this is the tornado warning near Houston. And that's a live view of the very strong winds in this area near Tomball, Texas. That's, again, just a little bit north of this particular tornado warning, but it gives you a good representation of what this storm is actively doing in real time, even if you're not in the tornado warning.
Because we're on the backside of it.
It's just absolutely bananas there. No, we do not have a rail cam for this particular area. All right, we'll have them at the bottom right again. This is the tornado warning. If you're in Houston, you need to seek shelter. Again, Houston, Texas. That rotation, if we do get a tornado, it's going to be moving right into Houston over the next few minutes. If there is a tornado, it's going to be right about there. It'll be moving right into Houston if we have one. Again, nothing confirmed, but if we did have one, that is where that particular tornado would be located. And again, that is currently moving down to the southeast, and it'll eventually go towards Pasadena and South Houston. We have another radar site that is also close up. We don't really have a view of the velocities. They're just kind of just not being picked up. The wind is just so high you can't even see it. The other radar site that we have had up to the north that we were looking at earlier Again, I'm just not really seeing much here, being able to really depict any sort of tornado, because the velocities are just not picking up because of how strong the winds are, one, and then, you know, two, also the range. But again, if we do have a tornado, it would be going right into Houston. Velocities on radar are still estimating around 120 miles per hour. Again, I don't think the winds are that high, but we very easily could have an area of activity here that has damaging winds as high as 85 to maybe even 90 miles per hour, going right into the metro of Houston, near Belair, and just south of Scenic Woods. So again, this will eventually go towards Pasadena and the South Houston area. Again, if you're in the pink polygon, you need to make sure that you are seeking shelter away from windows and on the lowest floor possible. We have another radar scan coming in. We'll go to that in a second. Again, this is live right now from Storm Runner Media, who is basically inside of this area of storms. They're just a little to the north of this particular very strong wind area. Or actually, now they are in Houston. Are they in Houston?
Overview, and then I kind of click on.
Okay, so they're kind of just southeast. They're kind of near Jersey Village. So they're on the back side of this tornado warning.
All the toll paths things.
They were originally in Tomball. They're not anymore. That's not my where they are currently.
It takes an hour and 4 minutes to get there.
I mean, they are basically going into the core of this storm right now.
That's what I have. Baytown.
And just an update, by the way, still no debris signature. Bottom right of your screen is that storm about to move right into Houston. We have a huge surge of wind going right into Houston in a moment. Let me go back to radar here. Is anybody, by the way, in Jersey Village? I'm just curious. Is anybody in Jersey Village? Has anybody have any reports if you're in Jersey Village? Because I mean, the surge of wind that we just had went through Jersey Village, so I'm just kind of curious if you're in that area, if you did end up seeing any sort of really significant winds there. Because unfortunately, the highest area wind is going to be going right into Houston here in a moment. I'm in Jersey Village. It's hailing hard. Yeah, I saw a driver go by. They were driving way too fast in the rain. Hydroplaning is a big issue. Here's the latest radar scan. So again, I'm not seeing any sort of really strong rotation. What I am seeing is very destructive wind speeds. Again, the velocities have been really high on this storm. I mean, we're still talking about the potential for damaging winds that could be as high as 80 to 90 miles per hour going right into Houston. So if you are in Houston, you need to make sure that you're seeking shelter away from windows and on the lowest floor possible. The highest area of wind is going to be going right into the downtown and heart, essentially, of Houston. So this is a very dangerous situation. Even if we don't get a tornado, we are still seeing a potential for really significant damaging winds here. And unfortunately, the brightest colors here, that bright pink there, that is where we're looking at for perhaps upwards of, again, 80, 90 to maybe even an isolated spot near 100 mile per hour winds going right into Houston. Now, the hope is that this radar is just exaggerating and, hopefully it's completely off, but we haven't had any sort of verification here on that wind speed. The radar, or the severe thunderstorm warning that they issued, was destructive at 80 mile per hour winds. That was not too long ago, so I still think that this area in particular is probably where the highest wind speeds are. Even if they're not at 100, they're probably at least still around 80 miles per hour or so, which will still cause a relatively significant amount of damage to shingles, to trees, to even potentially power lines. It's essentially like a large EF0 tornado that's ripping through this area with just the wind. Kind of trying to put that in perspective, because that's basically what this is. Straight line winds can be just as dangerous as a tornado, just for reference. At least like a lower end tornado. Obviously, it's not going to flatten homes in this case, unless you're in a mobile home. That's possible, but it's not going to flatten homes per se with winds like this that are just going in a straight line. But again, it could cause damage. If there's hail, there could be some wind-driven hail. If there's any sort of trampoline flying or whatever, that could obviously go into your window too. So you want to make sure that you're staying away from windows, lowest floor possible, and in an interior room of your home or building. I am watching to see if Storm Runner Media does see any power flashes as well. I've got to say, though, they're on, like, the northern side of the storm, the very far northern side of this tornado warning, so they're back up in, like, here, kind of. Maybe not even there, it might be back up here near 45. And, I mean, that wind area on radar is around 60 to 70. it looks like it's probably at least 50, maybe 60, so I don't think the winds are too far off there. And here's the latest velocity scan. So still showing relatively high winds right now, about to move right into Houston. So the highest wind speeds right now, moving right into Houston, Texas. And that'll be going towards Magnolia Park, Pasadena, Foster Place, South Houston, Cloverleaf, and as well as Channelview in the next 10 to 15 minutes. But if you're in the pink polygon, you need to be in your safe place, and I would honestly be in your storm shelter, basement, closet, or bathroom, even if you're in the yellow polygon, because it is just that significant of a storm when it comes to the wind threat. It's just, again, a very significant storm right now, moving right through Houston. We don't have anything confirmed, at least in terms of a tornado, but we 100% have high winds. Definitely have a damaging wind threat here. Is that CC drop over Houston? No, I mean, let me go back to CC here. No, anything that you're seeing here, I mean, we don't have any sort of velocity scan to kind of verify that, but let me zoom in a lot here real quick. I think that's just... Yeah, I don't think so. I kind of doubt that is a CC drop, because there's no really tightening there. I hope not. The local radar also has a hole there, but it has for the last couple of scans. There might be just tall buildings that are playing with that. That's probably what that is. Because that site also shows kind of like a hole there. So there might just be kind of like a little hole over Houston because of the tower. I'm guessing there's some sort of buildings that might be interfering with the radar view. So that might be what that is. Presumably, that's what it is. I don't think there's a tornado there, because again, we would need to see a tightening of green or blue and green and as well as red, and we don't have that. It's still a large, broad circulation here. We could obviously get a tornado if something kind of develops in here, but it looks mostly like straight line winds that are moving right into Houston and eventually going towards Foster Place and Magnolia Park. Yeah, that's okay. So that's just downtown skyscrapers in Houston, at least according to somebody. Yeah, there's a lot of tall buildings, so that's just some tall building contamination, if you will. Now, one area that I would be watching for the potential for a tornado here in the short term would be kind of up on here in the Scenic Woods area, maybe up in here. We do have an inflow here. We got a bit of a hook. We could get something up there. This all looks like wind, though, going through Houston. That's kind of the surge of wind coming from the storm, and that's, again, upwards of 70, 80, maybe even 90-mile-per-hour winds moving right into Houston. If we get a tornado, we could see something up here, though, which is just north of Houston, and that's still trying to move east or east-southeast. And that'll try to make a run towards Sheldon or Deer Park. So if you're in those areas, again, continue to stay in your safe place. We'll go back to the radar in a second. Again, the pink polygon is your tornado warning. Nope, we're gonna go stay here. New tornado warning.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
Alright, they have issued a new tornado warning. That's for Baytown, LaPorte, Deer Park, Pasadena, and South Houston. If you are in this particular area, you need to seek shelter. That's away from windows and on the lowest floor possible, and in an interior room of your home or building. I say that could have actually been something. Lenovo, can you stop? It's kind of hard to tell. But again, new tornado warning. That's, again, still radar indicated rotation for Deer Park, Pasadena, South Houston, LaPorte, and Baytown. If you're in this pink polygon, you need to seek shelter. That's away from windows and on the lowest floor possible, and in an interior room of your home or building. Once again, this could produce a tornado at any time as this continues to move east, southeast, and southeast. I'm still waiting to see if we have any sort of verification on the wind. From what I'm seeing as of right now, the winds are currently... So the winds that we're looking at least on this particular storm near Houston, which again, this is a huge swath right now of damaging winds that are around 90 to 100 miles per hour. They're approximately 1,600 feet off the ground. So that's where we're looking right now. So again, this is not surface-based. With that said, a lot of this wind will be reaching the surface. So if you are anywhere in this area, you still need to be seeking shelter for particularly the wind threat, as there will be a widespread threat here of damaging winds upwards of 70 to 85 miles per hour, perhaps even some, isolated spots picking up wind as high as 100. But this is a very significant supercell moving through Houston. The worst of the wind just moved through the downtown area of Houston, and it's now moving towards Pasadena, Scenic Woods, Deer Park, and South Houston. Still trying to see if we have any other reports on this. If you guys do see any reports on Twitter, you can at me at MaxVelocityWX. And just keep in mind, I'm working with 2 monitors right now. I don't have the full setup, so I'm I'm looking at my only monitor on the right, and then obviously the radar. We're doing a lot of balancing right now. Okay. Alright, here's the latest radar scan. Sorry, I was just kind of verifying stuff there. There has to be a tornado. It started to shake my house. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a tornado. It very possibly is just very high, strong downburst winds. There's definitely still a chance for a tornado. Obviously, there is a tornado warning here. But there's a strong possibility that we have some sort of really just strong straight line winds. We have something here. I've seen this. Let me just try to go back a little bit here. I've seen a little debris signature here for a while. I'm not sure if it is actually a debris signature, but I've seen this happen a few times here. We'll see what the velocities look like. And that's just northeast of Houston. The velocities have not updated, but we do have something, at least according to radar, that's popping up there. And if there's a tornado, that could be something. That might be a tornado going towards Jacinto City. But again, I'm not seeing a very strong tightening on radar, so it's very hard to tell. There's definitely just a chance it's some sort of contamination, because there's no tightening on radar, at least according to velocities. But if we did have a tornado, that could be something there near the Jacinto City area, and it's gonna be moving into Cloverleaf and as well as Deer Park, going towards Pasadena. Power flashes, yeah. I almost, guarantee there's gonna be power flashes, at least from the straight line winds. Is it common to have your hazard lights on during a storm in the United States? There's a lot of people that have their hazard lights on during tornado warnings or any storm in general, even when it's just raining. a lot of people do it. I see it all the time. The radar is approximately 1,600 feet off the ground. Or the radar beam is looking approximately 1,600 feet off the ground. But it does sound like we are getting a lot of power outages, or at least some power outages in the Houston area from the high winds. We do have a new radar scan here. Go back to the velocities. And we'll go back to the... Actually, we can probably go back to the CC first. This could have been a brief tornado. We still have some sort of signature here, which would match right up with where there could be a tornado. If there is still a tornado, it would be going through the Jacinto City area. Look at the velocities. Again, velocities didn't really match up with anything too tight there, but it's very possible that that was maybe a tornado right there. It just went through the northeast side of Houston near Interstate 610 going towards Jacinto City. I cannot say that. It's a bit hard to tell in this situation, but that may have just been a tornado. See what the velocities show in a moment. Now, even if we didn't have a tornado, we still have very high wind speeds. There's no doubt about that. Okay. It's still hard to tell, but that could be something. Again, it might even be a tornado that's lifted, but that right there, could be a tornado near Jacinto City going towards Cloverleaf, Channelview, and Deer Park and Galena Park. And again, even if there isn't a tornado, we are still talking about significant damaging winds upwards of 80 to perhaps even 90 miles per hour. Tag me on Twitter. Yeah, if you guys see anything, feel free to at me on Twitter. I'll try to, filter through a lot of these reports. Yeah, we had some pretty serious damage there, and even Cypress. I'm retweeting stuff on our Twitter page of damage, but there's some big power lines down in the Cypress area, which is back over where the really significant wind threat began, which was in Cypress. Like, we got massive power lines that are literally, like, knocked down entirely. Like, like, not like the small ones, like the big ones. I'm not talking about little power poles. I'm talking about actual, you know, large-scale power lines. I'm not sure if there's a different term for them, but we have some serious damage from there. Alright, we have another radar scan that just came in. But yeah, that's some serious damage right there. Alright, the latest CC radar does still indicate that, again, we may have just had a tornado out of this that started back near Interstate 610. Again, not confirmed, but that may have been something. The velocities just aren't lining up completely with it. If it was, we could still have debris in the atmosphere just east now of just Cinto City, south of Cloverleaf, and just west of Channel View, Texas. So there may have just been a brief tornado there. Again, here are the velocities. So we are looking at really the strongest area of rotation right now. Basically where I'm talking about that debris area that we may have just seen there. Just around the Channel View area. Just north of Deer Park and just north of Pasadena. We have a big surge of damaging winds on the backside of this storm going through this entire area just east of Houston. But if there's a tornado, that could be where it is. That would be really our strongest area of rotation right now that we have in here, which is, again, just to the north of Deer Park. So if you're anywhere in the pink polygon, you need to seek shelter. We could get a tornado with this at any time as it continues to move east-southeast. High voltage power lines. All right, thank you. Yeah, so high voltage power lines is what's been knocked down back over in Cyprus. That's probably the best way to describe that. Let me see if we have anything else as well. Yeah, there were power flashes. And those power flashes could have easily just been from wind. You know, they also could have been from a tornado. It's with how high these winds are, power flashes are very possible with high winds like this. I mean, we're still talking about damaging winds that are being estimated by radar a little bit off the ground at upwards of, you know, 90 to 100 miles per hour, which at the surface translates to 80 to 90 miles per hour. So this is still a very significant storm, no matter what. It doesn't matter if we do or don't get a tornado. We are still talking about significant damaging winds with this, as it does continue to move down to the east-southeast over the next several minutes. Again, Storm Runner Media, bottom right of your screen, they are still on kind of like the north side of this particular storm. They're in like northern Houston. So I don't think they'll be able to catch up to this particular tornadic activity, but they might even see some sort of damage on the backside of it, or they might even try to race ahead, try to get towards Liberty or something. Just a quick little view, by the way, of the entire radar, kind of the entire region. We got flash flooding ongoing back over north of Beaumont, back near Woodville and Newton. And then again, your tornadic activity with the very high winds stretching from El Campo, Texas, back towards North Cleveland. So it's still a relatively large area. Again, the severe thunderstorm warning here is going to be for the threat of damaging winds as high as 80 miles per hour. I would expect a new warning here shortly for areas like Baytown, Beach City, and Cove, and even near League City for that damaging wind threat. And then again, your tornado warning right now is no longer ongoing for Houston, but it is for Pasadena, Baytown, LaPorte, and as well South Houston, where we still do have a chance at a tornado. So again, if you're in the pink polygon, you need to make sure that you are in your safe place. It's a storm shelter, basement, closet, or bathroom, away from windows and on the lowest floor possible, and in an interior room of your home or building. This is still a dangerous storm. If it does produce a tornado, it could also be on the stronger side of things with how strong these velocities are. It is a heavily rain-wrapped tornado if we do have one, just for the record. So if we have some sort of tornado, it is going to be embedded in all of this rain here that we have, so it's going to be nearly impossible to see. So don't try to get your phone out for TikTok, try to look out the window and see. You're not going to be able to see it, so don't do that. Just stay in your, your storm shelter, your basement, closet, or bathroom until this storm does fully pass the area that you're in, like Pasadena, Deer Park, and Baytown. And again, there's likely going to be some flying debris here. That could include trampolines, could include loose lawn items. It really could include just about anything. Shingles, all those things could be in the air. Power went out in Pasadena. Again, I'm not honestly surprised by that at all. I think a lot of people are going to lose power in this area. You know, the nature of this storm is that it's going through a very populated area, and you know, the power outages are going to probably be very numerous in this area. I'm not sure what we're at right now in terms of power outages. I'll check, but there's going to be a lot of people without power here. We are at over 300,000 people without power right now in Texas. Over 300,000 without power right now in Texas. Now that right there is quite literally crazy. That's, I mean, I don't know if I've seen that many power outages in Texas in a while. I think the last time I've seen that many power outages was probably back when we had that ice storm, which was legitimately like, I don't know, 2021 I think it was, when we have rolling blackouts. You know, that's just insane. Yeah, there's currently 300,000 without power right now. 477,000 is another number I'm seeing, so it might be higher. That's just according to poweroutage.us. Alright, we have another radar scan coming in right now. That's buildings, not people. Oh, is that what that is? We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Beach City, Cove, Texas, Baytown. Essentially anywhere here near the Interstate 10 stretch between Pasadena and Cove. That is going to be for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour, quarter-sized hail, and there is also a tornado possible label on that. So still a very significant storm right now rolling right through the east side of Houston with very significant damaging winds across a large area. So if you're anywhere in the yellow polygon, you also need to make sure that you are going to your safe place, away from windows, and on the lowest floor possible. You might not be in a tornado warning, but winds that high are going to be very similar to, even equivalent to, an EF0 tornado that, you know, would rip through an area. So this is still a relatively dangerous situation if you are in Baytown, LaPorta, or LaPorte, and as well Seabrook, Beach City, Cove, Old River, Winfrey, and near Interstate 10. Yeah, if you're in LaPorta, you need to be in your safe place. I can't tell you anything else than just that. Again, there might not be a tornado here, but you're at least talking about a significant damaging wind risk upwards of 80 to 90 miles per hour. So there's nearly 500,000 people now without power in Texas, is what I'm hearing right now. Which, once again, that is a lot of people. And that number is going to go up, by the way. That's not going down. That number is definitely going up here. With how many people are in this area, it's going to be going up. The tornado warning, by the way, still does include Baytown. They have condensed the warning to the point where it now only includes Baytown, the north side of LaPorte, as well as Deer Park. If you are in LaPorte, that does not mean you get out of your safe place and go party. You need to stay in your safe place. There is still a very significant damaging wind threat coming your direction, which again could send debris flying, including, you know, trees could fall, power lines could fall, all those sorts of things. We've already had power lines that have fallen, that are high voltage power lines that are massive from this area of wind. So it's very likely that we're at least going to see something like that here. This includes Channelview, Deer Park, and Baytown, Texas. Those are the locations that are currently included in this. But it is still the same tornado warning, it's just condensed. So it includes less locations, essentially, in this area. The highest area of wind is once again going to be anywhere in that blue, which is on the east side of Houston, approaching, again, Baytown right now. And we're still watching for some sort of potential for a tornado near Baytown, Texas. We got another radar scan coming in right now on the velocities. Let's see if there's anything new there. It's looking green out here. Power's out in Katy. There's a chemical plant apparently in LaPorta, or LaPorte. 632,000 people without power now, according to Centerpoint. That is insane. If that number's true, I don't know if it is. I know for sure we at least have 300,000 people without power, but if we have that many people without power, that is a huge amount. Once again, not seeing any debris signature here, and I'm honestly not seeing a whole lot of rotation. I'm still looking at really a predominantly wind threat that is moving right through Deer Park, Pasadena, and South Houston. This wind is still moving through the east side of Houston, so we probably still have more power outages accumulating as we speak. Like, the power outage situation here is just going to continue to ramp up. And again, we have a lot of people without power right now. Apparently, there's a lot of chemical plants near Laporte. Laporte. Apparently it's Laporte. Sorry. I did Spanish classes for 4 years and I obviously didn't learn much. Kelly, I wouldn't be super concerned there, but I'll talk about it here in a little bit. Check West Houston. I think the west side of Houston at this point is just rain. We don't really have much there. It's just all rain. All rain and just some gusty winds. The worst of the severe weather is going to be moving right into Baytown, eventually going towards Winnie, High Island. We could even see something down near Galveston, Texas City, and League City also. So those areas could also be on the track of some significant weather. Is Pasadena good? I would still stay in your safe place for a few more minutes. Right now, the velocities are still showing some high winds in that area, so there might still be some sort of damaging wind potential there around 60 to 75 miles per hour that's still kind of going through Pasadena. I would still at least give it another 5 to 10 minutes. Losing power during flooding. Unfortunately, we have a dual threat here. We have both severe weather, and we also have the threat now for really significant flooding. Again, notice all the flash flood warnings. Really serious concern up this direction, where we could get some serious flash flooding. Upwards of 12 inches of rain is possible today in an isolated location or two up in that area, just north of Houston. So unfortunately, this is just a really bad situation, at least up that direction. Houston just got hammered with a significant wind threat, though, which is, you know, that kind of wind threat basically went right through the heart of Houston. Let's see if we have any sort of updates here on Twitter. Yeah, if you do see any reports, feel free to at me on Twitter, at MaxVelocityWX. I'm kind of multitasking to see if we do have any other new reports. There's also some wind damage on the northwest side of Houston. This is a photo here of that damage. So again, we're seeing some pretty significant damage in Houston. It's from Isle Badarn on Twitter. I am seeing a spin up, it looks like. Yeah, we got possibly a tornado trying to develop right now just to the north of Baytown. This right here. So seek shelter again if you're near Baytown. That right there is a tornado that might be trying to develop here. So it's this right here. I'll be going towards Cove. I'm not seeing a debris signature yet, but that right there is a pocket of rotation that is attempting to develop. It will be, again, moving towards areas like Cove. It's kind of going northeast almost. It's going to be crossing over Interstate 10 near McNair and the Cody area, and eventually going towards 1942 Road just southeast of Barrett. So again, your strongest area of rotation right now is this right here. And that'll be moving off probably more to the northeast, but if you're basically anywhere in this general vicinity, you should be in your safe place, just in case this does try to drop a tornado. It is definitely a strengthening area of rotation that's, you know, entirely possible, at least produces some sort of brief tornado as it moves into the, you know, as it moves northeast. Also got a report from somebody in River Oaks. No major damage in that area. So that's good news. Just a lot of rain, a lot of wind by the looks of it. That's another report in that particular location. Again, if you have any photos or videos, you can feel free to tweet me on Twitter at MaxVelocityWX, and I'll relay those and all that sort of stuff. There is a potential for quarter-sized hail with this storm. That's probably going to be the highest hail that we see out of this. So it shouldn't be much higher than that. All right, here's the latest radar scan on that little area of rotation that I was just talking about. So again, not super convincing when it comes to a, tight couplet. It looks like it's decoupling a little bit here. See what the CC shows, and yeah, I'm not seeing a debris signature, but that right there would be somewhere where we're watching for maybe a little brief tornado embedded in all that rain. And we could even get a few more of those as this continues to move eastbound. The highest of the wind speeds right now are currently just east of Houston, near Pasadena and South Houston, moving towards LaPorte, and as well as Baytown, going towards Cove and Beach City. Now, the good news is that the wind, like the majority at least of the wind, is going to be moving a bit offshore. But the bad news is it's going to be moving right back onshore, going towards High Island here pretty soon in Texas. So that'll be the next area that's in the track of this particular area of storms. By the way, for those that are wondering, again, I am on a trip. I am not in my studio. I am currently on vacation, quote unquote, but I'm still, live. So I have a lot of people asking about that. Local Houston News has a video of a potential funnel when it moved through Cypress. I mean, again, it wouldn't surprise me. We had a very, very strong Hokkaido on the airport radar back near Tomball a little while ago. And the rotation we couldn't really see on radar, but it very, very strongly was possible that we had at least some sort of funnel cloud, maybe even a brief tornado in that area. And we could still get one here, for the record. I mean, it's not impossible. We just had a pretty strong couplet here a moment ago near Lynchburg. That may have dropped a brief tornado. It could still technically drop a brief tornado, even though it's probably occluding now near Interstate 10. But really, any of this activity still has the chance to produce something. Let's see. Yeah, even near Baytown, I mean, we still have very strong winds. We could still get possibly a tornado there, as that does continue to move eastbound. Will I watch over you guys tomorrow? I only could go live so much. I mean, again, today's live stream was mostly just an emergency live stream. If there's some sort of emergency live stream needed tomorrow, I'll go live, but it's just kind of on an emergency basis right now, since I am currently on vacation golfing, and I'm in South Carolina. I have literally a laptop and a monitor that are barely functioning, so it's a bit of a struggle, but trying to do our best here. It's kind of on again, it's on an emergency basis. Area of rotation, by the way, has left the tornado warning, and the tornado warning does expire in 1 minute. So this warning will likely just be expiring. We could still get a tornado, but right now it looks like predominantly a wind threat still that is moving through east side of Houston. But this warning does officially end in 1 minute. Hey guys, if you guys do see any photos or videos, you can at me on Twitter, at MaxVelocityWX. If you see any reports, feel free to at me. I'm trying to see if we have anything else here. From what I know, though, again, the power outages have really climbed here in Texas. We now officially have over 590,000 people without power. Waller County in Texas, which I believe is just west of Houston, over 70% of that county is without power. Without power. That is unbelievable. All right, that tornado warning has now officially ended, so we're back down to now a normal, or not really normal, we're still at a considerable threat for severe weather with the damaging wind potential, but we do still have an ongoing area here that we could still get a brief tornado in, so we're going to continue to monitor this closely. I'm trying to figure out what the warning counter is here. All right. A further reminder, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. We'll keep you posted with the latest with severe weather coverage. And I'll get to chat here in a second. I'm just trying to post this quickly on the power outage side of things. But yeah, again, if you're just tuning in, really the biggest news right now is that we have over 600,000 people now without power in Texas. And most of those people, again, are in the Houston area, or at least in the suburbs. I'll pull up the power outage map and kind of show you. This is according to poweroutage.us as of 13 minutes ago, which probably is not fully updated, by the way. This is still probably, an at least a little bit behind. It's 13 minutes behind. We probably have more power outages than this number, but right now, this is where the bulk of the power outages are. Waller, Texas had almost around 75% without power. Harris County, which is where Houston is, that's at least 25 or about 20% without power. That number is probably going to climb, by the way. Hardin County, about 33% without power. Liberty County, right around about 15-20% without power. Tyler County, about 10 to 15% without power. Polk County also has some power outages. San Jacinto County is also around 33% without power. Washington County, around 30%. So again, there are a lot of power outages here, and unfortunately, I don't think that number is going to be going down anytime soon. I think it's going to keep climbing here in Texas. It's unfortunately just a very dangerous area of storms that just produced a really significant damaging wind threat. And unfortunately, we're kind of in a situation where we could still get another tornado, or we at least could still see some widespread damaging winds produce even more power outages as this goes towards Winnie and High Island, Texas. So yeah, still a relatively significant area of storms. All right, let me get to some other stuff here real quick. Thank you, Eric, for the $4.99. Lots of flooding and closed off roads in College Station, Texas. There is flooding in a lot of areas, and this here is your outlook for today in terms of the excessive rainfall. We have a moderate risk that goes from literally Dallas-Fort Worth, which is already kind of tapering down now, but back through the north side of Houston towards Baton Rouge. And also we have a high risk, which is not something you see very often. That's the highest risk that you can get for excessive rainfall. We have a high risk there just north of Beaumont, which goes back through areas near Lake Charles, just north of Lake Charles, near Leesville, Jasper, Woodville, St. Augustine, Lufkin, Texas, Crockett, Texas, Trinity. Unfortunately, those areas are just going to get tons and tons of rainfall here over the next 12 hours or so, and even probably sooner than that, really over the next 6 hours. Many areas up there have already seen at least a few inches of rain, and more is to come over the next several hours. So really unfortunate stuff there. Hey, James, for the $5 super chat. Biggest issue with flooding in southeast Texas is draining is very slow. Yeah, that's also true. The draining is really not good, and Hurricane Harvey definitely kind of showed that. The draining is really bad. Obviously, Hurricane Harvey dumped rain like crazy, but, you know, it's still kind of the same thing. Again, there's just not a lot of drainage, which is surprising because there's a big body of water right there, but obviously it's, you know, you need more than that. You need some infrastructure for that sort of stuff. Okay, let me keep going here. Thank you, Karen, for the $10 super chat. Thank you, Mikey, for the $4.99. Got to that one. Thank you, Radar Wiley, for the $10 super chat. I appreciate that. Thank you, April, for becoming a Velocity member. Thank you, Heather, for the generous $20 super chat. A family driving from New Mexico back to Kansas City right now. Will they be in the path of any tonight's storms? Probably not much. I mean, if you do see anything, it's gonna be relatively isolated. The majority of the storms are either near Houston or Louisiana, or the discrete or semi-discrete cells that are back over in West Texas, which most of those are just hail and wind. So those are not super concerning, but you might run into like an isolated storm. It wouldn't be significant by any means. I think really the most significant severe weather that we're gonna have tonight is right here along the Gulf Coast, and then back over with those storms in West Texas. And also a new storm prediction center update, I believe, comes out in 55 minutes. So we probably will at least still be live for that. I think we'll at least be live here for a little over 2 hours. Even though I'm on vacation, I'll at least be live here through probably about 8 p.m. Central, maybe a bit later after that. Thank you, Kelly, for the $5 super chat. Looks like there might be something near Little Rock around 10:30. Yeah, so this is what we're looking at for today's risk. Again, I don't think Little Rock is going to be in a big concern for today. With that said, there is a marginal threat just to your north. That's what the thumbnail shows, I think. Hopefully the thumbnail shows that. I don't know if the thumbnail updated. I can't remember. Yeah, it did. Okay, so yeah, basically anywhere just north of Little Rock, that is where we're looking at a marginal threat, and it's a relatively low risk. Maybe an isolated hail or windstorm, maybe even a brief tornado is possible. It's a relatively low risk. We'll go hour by hour, so we'll start with about 7, 8 o'clock tonight. Again, a couple different areas that we're watching, or really 3. This is one area, this is area 2, and then this is area 3. So we got 3 different areas that we're watching for storms tonight. Once we get closer to 8 to 9, that line of storms will continue to push east and southeast, really driving right along the Gulf Coast near Louisiana and Texas. And then also back over in West Texas, we will continue to see some significant damaging wind potential and hail, maybe a brief tornado, but I think the tornado risk stays low there. Some storms will continue back over in Arkansas, but overall the majority of those storms are going to be primarily just wind, hail, and maybe an isolated tornado, but all of those threats for severe weather are supposed to be pretty marginal in nature. And then the stuff along the Gulf Coast will continue through about midnight, and then after midnight tonight, most of these storms will be just wind and maybe an isolated hailstorm and maybe a brief tornado, but overall the tornado risk kind of lowers there. And then tomorrow we'll have another risk back over in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, which even that risk should be relatively low. And I'll have a full forecast probably on that as well tomorrow morning, presumably. I mean, I got up really early today to make the video that I made this morning, so that's, you know, we could get another one too tomorrow. Also, still some rotation right now back near Cove, Texas. So we are still watching for rotation there. We're going to continue to watch that closely. It's near Cove and Old River Winfrey. Also, thank you, Lisa, for the $9.99. Thank you for doing this on your vacation. No problem at all. It's kind of a little bit of a quiet time right now, so it's fine. Thank you, Karen, for the $10 super chat as well, and thank you, Cole, for the $5 super chat. It's fine. Pronunciations are not our strong suit. Alright, so for those that are wondering, hopefully we don't get a tornado warning in the middle of this, because I know a lot of people are wondering, but again, I'm on vacation. I'm in South Carolina. I'm on a golfing trip. I'm on day 3 now, I think, of golfing. So, yeah, I've been here since Tuesday, so today's Thursday, so yeah, day 3. Day 2 of golfing, but day 3 of being here. I'm already sunburnt. I can feel it on my arm. I'm definitely sunburnt. But it's been fun. You know, I've been relaxing. It's been pretty good. I've done videos obviously every day from here, and again, the background, you can notice it's not my studio. I'm not in my studio. Again, I'm away. I'll probably be here until around Sunday or Monday, and then we'll be back to the normal studio by Monday or Tuesday of next week. Because next week looks very busy. It looks like a lot of severe weather next week. We're gonna have a lot of different trough injections, and I do think next week we could see multiple severe weather outbreaks. It looks at least likely that we're at least gonna have a few at some point in the end of May, between May 20th and basically May 30th. I do think we're at least gonna have a few severe weather outbreaks, but obviously where those happen and all that do still remain relatively uncertain. But yeah, once again, I've been away, and again, it's been relaxing. But yesterday I played again par 72, probably about 6,000 yards or something. Shot an 83 or 84. I think it was an 84, maybe an 83. And then today I shot a 94 or 92. No, today was a 92. So yesterday was an 84 and today was a 92. So not too shabby. I actually shot a 39 on the front 9 yesterday, which is a very low score. That's +3. I felt like Tiger Woods. I was even through 6 holes, and I haven't played in 3 months. So crazy stuff. Yeah, I'm a professional golfer now. I am Tiger Woods. Alright, well yeah, that's the story of my life right now. But I am sunburned. At least in my arms, I can feel it. I'm feeling it more as I'm live. Golf ball size tail is your thing? 100%. Actually, cheese curd size tail is my thing. Yeah, I'll be max velocity on, you know, hole number 1 at the Masters in 2025. Don't worry. We're currently making our way there. In all seriousness, I think my handicap's like a 10 or 12, so I'm actually not that good. But yesterday I played really well for some reason. I don't know why. Sometimes you're better off playing less golf. I know. It's kind of crazy. All right, here's the latest velocity scan again. We're looking at a storm east of Houston near Cove that is still trying to produce something. But that rotation just not looking super impressive right now. It's really rain-wrapped. We are still looking at least at a damaging wind threat. And again, perhaps a brief tornado as this activity does continue to move east over the next several minutes. So again, if you are in this particular severe thunderstorm warning, continue to stay away from windows and stay in your safe place. This definitely could produce a tornado as it does continue to move eastbound. I golfed with hail. No, I did not. Is League City getting hit? You are getting hit. I don't think it's going to be significant wind, though. There is a severe thunderstorm warning for this right here, which would be damaging winds around 60 to 65. Let's see. Yeah, that's like the main area of wind. Looks like we also have a surging leading edge here near League City that's already kind of went through. But the new warning is going to be for that wind threat back over just northwest of League City. It's that blue stuff right there. That'll be damaging winds around 60 to 65 miles per hour. And again, that's currently going down to the southeast, and it'll eventually go towards Dickinson, and as well as Texas City, and eventually going towards Galveston. And we also have another radar scan coming out on the velocities. So we'll see if there's any sort of, again, strong rotation on this. Winds reported at 123. I don't know if we've had anything confirmed. Let me, oh, my storm reports are on. I think they are. I don't think we've had anything confirmed in terms of wind yet. If anybody does know if anything has been confirmed from this storm, just let me know. But I don't think we've had any confirmed wind here. Like, any confirmed wind reports, at least. And again, we're still not seeing any sort of definitive pocket of rotation right now. It looks like mostly just wind right now. Again, that damaging wind threat currently peaking at 70 miles per hour. There are still multiple other areas that are trying to produce at least wind and maybe an isolated tornado. It does look like our next threat could come out of this area going towards Lake Charles and Sulphur, Louisiana, once again. So this could be another area to watch for, would be this activity here moving towards Lake Charles and as well as Sulphur. Looks like we could get a surge of at least wind and maybe even an isolated tornado as it moves in that direction. So a few different areas that we're watching. We also got another one near northwest side of Lafayette. So 3 different areas. All of which could still, again, produce a damaging wind and maybe a tornado risk as they continue to move east. It's windy. Yeah, well, we know it's windy. Just trying to figure out what the exact wind speed was going through Houston. I'm not sure if we're going to have that number here soon or not. Wow. The power outages, according to poweroutage.us now, are over 750,000 people without power now in Texas. That's your number right there at the top. That is just bananas. This is, again, where the majority of the power outages are back over near Houston. So over almost 1 million people in Texas without power. That's almost 10% of the state, by the way, that's without power right now. So, I mean, this is a very significant area of storms that just went through Houston. And unfortunately, we are still going to see more power outages as this moves towards Port Arthur and right along Interstate 10 here over the next several minutes. Yeah, just crazy. Really crazy stuff there. By the way, thank you to John for becoming a Velocity member. I do appreciate it, and welcome to the Velocities. My mom got a tornado warning in League City. That might have been from earlier. I don't even know if you were in the warning, but there's no tornado warning anymore. It's just wind. Which, again, wind can still produce damage. So definitely make sure that you're still staying away from windows. We are still watching for a low tornado risk right now near Beach City, going towards Anahuac, Texas, and eventually going towards Stowell and High Island. Mostly a wind threat, though, for the time being. Again, damaging winds upwards of 60 to 75 miles per hour does remain a possibility as this moves eastbound. The warning just expired, but they will probably issue a new one. What time is it right now? It's 7:15. Yeah, so they'll probably issue a new warning here in a moment. Right, for the time being, the warning count is at 11. There were some special weather statements in Central Texas earlier. That is pretty typical when we have strong storms. Again, special weather statements are not higher than other warnings. It's essentially just saying that there is a strong storm with either hail, wind, maybe even landspouts. That's usually what's included in a special weather statement. So again, it would not mean that we're about to see a, you know, it again just means that there's strong storms. It's not higher than a severe thunderstorm warning, just for reference, or a tornado warning, or again anything like that. So, yeah. All right. Here's the latest radar scan. Let's see what the velocities look like here. Could even get a water spout or a fishnado right over this little bay here near Beach City and the Anahuac area. Waiting for the velocities to update here, though. All right, here's the latest scan. We are at least seeing some sort of rotation near Anahuac. So there's at least something there. It's right over the lake, so, or over the ocean, I should say. This is not a lake. This is a bay. But yeah, there's at least some pocket of rotation there, and there's your new severe thunderstorm warning. Again, that's going to include Interstate 10 near High Island, Devers, and Anahuac near Cove. So if you're in the yellow polygon, make sure that you're staying away from windows. But there is a potential here again for a tornado, and if we do get one, it would be in that yellow circle. Yes, a fishnado is possible. Fishnado is definitely possible, but we could definitely see a tornado too. So, let's see. Try to see if we have any other reports here. It looks like we have a video apparently on Facebook of a tornado in Cypress, so there actually may have been a tornado there in Cypress, Texas. More than likely a brief tornado. Wow. This is from Carla S. on Twitter. Let me see if I can... It's kind of hard to do this. I don't know if the audio is even playing. Give me 1 second. Let me, we got a video of possibly the tornado from earlier. I only got 2 monitors. I'm trying to balance this. Okay, here is the video out of Cyprus of a possible tornado earlier. Sent them from Carla. Wow. That wind. It's hard to tell if it was an actual tornado from that video. I did see a video on Facebook of an actual tornado, so it appears likely, at least, that we did have a tornado here back over in Cypress, which, for the record, again, Cypress back over northwest of Houston. That's where that is. So still a relatively long distance away from Houston, but yeah, more than likely at least had some sort of tornado there in Cypress. Now that probably was more than likely just straight line winds, but that was from Carla S. on Twitter. See if we have any other reports as well on Twitter here. Alright, I think that's the only other reports that we have for the time being. Cool. Thank you, Beth, for the $9.99. Thank you also to Lewis for the $5 super chat. Pasadena, Texas. Pasadena's done. From here on out, you're looking at mostly just a lot of rain and a lot of lightning as these storms continue to move out to your east, which will be moving mostly away from you, but you're going to continue to at least have some thunder and lightning for the next probably hour or so until it officially moves all out of your area. Looked like some power flashes there. Honestly, I couldn't even see it. It's so hard to stream on this monitor. But I don't doubt it, honestly. I mean, again, it could have also been lightning, but we had a lot of power flashes in Houston. From what I was seeing from other videos, not just that one, but a lot of other videos, they were showing a lot of various power flashes. So I do think we did have a probably at least very strong straight line winds, probably around, again, perhaps 70, 85 miles per hour, but also we could have easily had at least a tornado or two. But it does look like we at least had a tornado. I am retweeting the video on Twitter at MaxVelocityWX, but it looks like we did have a tornado in Cypress. The video of that tornado is on our Twitter page. And there's a lot of videos. I'm retweeting a lot of them on Twitter. But yeah, there's a lot of them right now that are clearly showing at least a very high wind threat, but also a more than likely tornado that happened as well. There we go. There's your tornado warning. I was about to say this could get tornado warned.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
All right, brand new tornado warning again in Texas. This is going to be on the storm that is now east of Houston. So if you are in this tornado warning, you need to seek shelter away from windows and on the lowest floor possible, and in an interior room of your home or building. Again, that's near the Anahuac area of Texas. It's that right there, that circulation. It's going to be going right to Anahuac, going eventually towards Interstate 10, and down the road going towards Winnie, Texas. So if you are in the pink polygon, seek shelter away from windows and on the lowest floor possible. Just lost power in Maryville. Yeah, again, I do think a lot of these areas are not going to have power. Let's see what the latest power outage update is here. Wow. This is just insane. We're about at 1 million people without power now in Southeast Texas, primarily. Out of 13 million people that are tracked in Texas, according to poweroutage.us. That is just unbelievable. That is so many people. Again, that's 1 million people is a lot. That's, I mean, usually when we have storms like this, they do not cause that many power outages. That's just an absurd number. Yeah, if you're just tuning in, this is a new tornado warning east of Houston. This is going to be near Anahuac, Texas. Moving east-northeast, going towards Interstate 10. And if you are in the pink polygon, make sure to seek shelter immediately. Away from windows, lowest floor possible, and in an interior room of your home or building. Alright. Anahuac? Oh, it's Anahuac? Okay, gotcha. This is in Anahuac, Texas. And that's where your new tornado warning is. Rotation, again, is just offshore right now. It's about to be moving onshore. So that area of rotation that we have here, that I circled, the green and red, or yeah, green and red colors, again, represent your rotation. So that's your typical cyclonic rotation, and if we do get a tornado, it would be somewhere in there, basically entering the town right now of Anahuac and eventually going towards Interstate 10, towards Winnie, Texas. I believe most of these areas in between that are rural. Anahuac's the main location. It'll eventually go towards Monroe City, Texas, and eventually going towards Winnie, which Winnie's not in the warning, but you would be, you know, in line for this. And here's the latest scan. Interesting kind of development here. The rotation itself looked initially like it was kind of going north. The latest velocity scans now kind of show it almost going back down to the south. So I don't know if we have like a drunk NATO here or something, but let me try to look at this here again. Go back to the storm relative velocities. I'm not sure if this is going to show us any better view of this. Yeah, you can see that rotation. It's kind of like drifting now to the south now. It's kind of gotten caught by the storms. This is a completely rain-wrapped area of rotation, too. Interesting. New setup, new background. It is not a new setup, and it's also not a new background. This is a very temporary background for like 2 days. If you're just tuning in, this is a tornado warning east of Houston, east of Baytown, near Anahuac, Texas. This particular couplet was moving northeast, and it's now moving kind of south. So we'll see what the next velocity scan shows. Good news is that it's a very rural part of Texas. The bad news is that this could produce a tornado at any time. As it goes, possibly either to the east or south, Winnie and Stowell, Texas will be in the track of this particular area of storms to some degree. Whether that is the wind threat or it is the tornado risk, that remains uncertain. But here is your, again, area of storms right now, more zoomed out. We got a large line basically moving right along the Gulf Coast. And again, a lot of this activity is moving east. CC, I have no clue where Dustin is. I am aware that there are tornado warnings in Canada, but we really do not cover Canada unless it's like something that we, you know, that's like urgent. Which again, we're mostly just going to cover United States stuff unless there's something that, unless there's like nothing happening in the United States and there's something big happening in Canada. Or mostly a United States stream. Again, this area of rotation, I mean, you know, if we have a tornado, it would more than likely be, you know, in the vicinity of like this right here. That would be more than likely where, you know, a tornado could be. It'd be kind of where that inflow notch is. Again, it's not really strong rotation, but here's your inflow going to the storm. And that would be where we're watching for that potential for a tornado. So again, just to the east right now of Anahuac. So again, if you are in the pink polygon, just stay in your safe place just in case this does try to drop a tornado. But again, that rotation is relatively broad right now from what I'm seeing on radar. And also back northwest of Lake Charles, we are still watching for the potential here for a tornado as well. Again, not gonna immediately produce a tornado risk, but something to watch for. And this has actually been upgraded to a destructive storm, so we're now up to 80-mile-per-hour damaging winds just to the northwest of Sulphur and Lake Charles. So unfortunately, another round of significant damaging winds is heading right towards a very similar area to what we just saw last time, which was literally not even a few days. It was like literally a few days ago, back on Monday, I think it was, when we had the significant damaging winds near Lake Charles and Sulphur. It's now just barely to the north of them where we have a significant damaging wind threat evolving, and we'll probably end up getting a tornado at least some sort of low tornado risk out of that activity as it moves eastbound. So that is just unbelievable. That area is getting pretty much the same threat as they had literally a few days ago. Maybe an hour or two later than what that area of storms was on Monday, but still, just unbelievable. Yeah, this is our tornado warning. Again, it's East Houston. Yeah, and that would be your rotation. It's going to be right there west of Winnie and also just east of Anahuac, Texas. Your inflow kind of going to the storm right in here where those lighter reflectivity values are. That gives it some spin. Could produce maybe a tornado here as it moves towards Winnie and Stowell, Texas. Again, if you're in this warning, continue to stay in your safe place away from windows, lowest floor possible. By the way, I have no lighting. This is not a professional setup. The only lighting I had before was the sun. So, just an FYI, you won't probably be able to see me very well. But I am here. Who is Anna and why she's whack? I don't know. It's called Anahuac, though, apparently. That doesn't look like Anahuac. I don't know where the whack came from. It looks like Anahawk. I don't know. I don't know pronunciations anywhere, so I really shouldn't be talking. We are back down to 12 severe thunderstorm warnings. We still do have this one tornado warning once again. We have destructive storms going on in Louisiana that are producing damaging winds as high as 80 miles per hour. But once again, the most significant threat that we have right now is that, and as well as this potential for a tornado. Those are the two most concerning things that we have on the radar right now. We have actually 9 warnings, so the warning count's dropped a lot here in the last few minutes. I think a lot of the warnings probably just expired, and that is, yeah. So a lot of them just expired. Quick rundown. We do have a tornado. We have a tornado warning right now for Chambers in Liberty County in Texas. That's again near Anahuac, just west of Winnie. We still do have... I'm trying to give you the full breakdown here. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning for Glasscock, Martin, Howard, and Midland counties in Texas. We have apparently one in Daniels and Valley counties in Montana. The Sterling, Tom Green, and Koch counties, Texas. We have a damaging windstorm at 80 miles per hour. It is a destructive storm. And we have a few others. The other 2 destructive ones are in Newton County, Texas, and also one for Beauregard, Newton, Jasper counties, which 2 of those are in Texas. Beauregard is in Louisiana. So those are the current warnings that we have. Those ones are, again, destructive, producing damaging winds upwards of 80 miles per hour. And we're still watching for a possibility for a tornado here. If we get one, again, it'll just be to the west of Stowell near Winnie. This warning does go for 14 more minutes. So if you're in the pink polygon, just continue to stay in your safe place, away from windows and on the lowest floor possible. And power outage counter has not updated in 15 minutes. I'm keeping a close eye on it to see if it does officially cross 1 million. But I do think it's going to probably cross 1 million officially. I think it has probably already officially crossed 1 million. I don't think it has updated though yet. But we'll keep you posted. But all those power outages, again, were mostly Houston. Yes, Houston was hit. I don't know if they were hit by a tornado, for example, but they were definitely hit by a destructive area of damaging winds. That is almost undoubtable. So, unfortunately, they were really hammered with the wind threat. But, again, I don't think they were hit directly by an actual tornado. You know, regardless, it really does not matter. There was a fire truck on the left side of your, or right side of your screen, or might have already gone by. But, yeah. It really doesn't matter. I mean, they still got hit really hard by wind, at least. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything too strong here, but if we do have a tornado, it would be right in here, just west of Stowell. We do have a damage report coming out of Cove, Texas. Wind blew back part of a roof at Chambers County EMS in Cove. That is as of 7:07 p.m. We haven't had any actually damage reports on at least Radar Omega here in Houston. Now, I've seen already a lot of photos of damage in the Houston area, from like, you know, parts of, you know, shingles being ripped off, branches torn down, just loose line items kind of scattered around areas. I mean, I've seen that stuff. I haven't seen, you know, any reports at least on here yet, but yeah, we do have that. That's our first damage report that we've had in this area. All right. Just curious, do you look at, or do you just focus on tornado alerts, or do you look at other areas for potential spin-ups? On a normal day, I would. I'm trying to do that. It's hard because I only have one monitor. If I had, you know, my normal setup, I'd be able to easily do that. But it takes a lot of zooming out, and a lot of people don't want to be looking at me just kind of zooming across the map. Because I try to look pretty quickly at all that stuff, so that we can spend more time on what's the most important. Because, I mean, looking at Louisiana, it's all wind right now, and it is destructive, again, 80-mile-per-hour winds, but we don't really have any rotation here right now that's, you know, noticeable. Now, I do think we could get a tornado risk here down the road. It looks like we have some opening here on the front side of the storm, so we got some sort of inflow trying to develop, a hook trying to develop in here. This is looking very similar to what we just saw literally a few days ago here in Louisiana, back on Monday when we had that QLCS tornado risk really ramp up near Lake Charles and Sulphur. This looks almost identical to that right now, where we have a lot less rain in front of this and starting to open up at least the potential here for some sort of spin up situation near to Quincy. I'm seeing similar signs to that, so we could get a tornado out of that. This is really the main area though for tornadoes. Back over near San Angelo, I'm not really looking at much of that. It's mostly just wind and hail and, you know, maybe a brief tornado, but this threat over here is just really low at this point. So I try to zoom around, but it's harder to do it when I only have one monitor. That tornado warning, by the way, has officially been canceled. So we are back down to a normal area of severe weather, at least for the time being, until that changes probably in like 10 minutes, because this Lake Charles activity looks quite concerning. Zoom out a little bit here. All right. Thank you, Liam, for the $5 super chat. That's crazy. Yeah, there's some people that have experienced a lot of different weather. Have you ever seen a flying trampoline, though? If you haven't seen that yet, that is one weather phenomenon that you have to experience, at least at some point. Either that or cheese curd size tail. Those are the two big ones. Alright. Downtown Houston is done other than rain, which will continue. Again, Houston got hammered by the wind already, and maybe even a tornado over there near Cypress, which looks like there was one. So, yeah. But otherwise, you're pretty much winding down. It's mostly everything that you've already seen is what you're going to see for today. There could still be an isolated storm late tonight, but it's a relatively low risk, and I wouldn't expect severe weather there. The tornado was sighted in Cypress, which is... right here for reference. There is a tornado watch still ongoing, but I don't think it's going to last that much longer. This is where we had that, or at least in this area, it probably won't last much longer. But that's where we had a confirmed tornado. At least, you know, visually spotted with people, you know, in the area videotaping it. Thank you, David, for the $4.99. That's a lovely room you're in. Thank you. I'm glad. Look at the new studio, guys. Fantastic. We got a couch and everything. We got a wood door. We got a picture. We got everything. It's a brand new setup. Max Velocity Studios version 2. Imagine? It'd be pretty crazy. By the way, I'm not really seeing any sort of rotation here anymore. It looks like this has become outflow driven entirely, so this might just be straight line winds at this point. Could still get a QLCS tornado down the road after some of this like storm merger activity happens, but it's relatively uncertain there near Lake Charles, Louisiana. So we'll still watch that closely in case that does anything. Good setup, thank you, appreciate it. You check on Texas City, Texas. I would hope Texas City is in Texas. Right now, we're looking at mostly wind. That's if you get any severe weather. It will at least be a lot of lightning, a very quick burst of rain, which probably won't be that quick. I mean, it'll probably last at least 10 to 15 minutes. But definitely a lot of lightning, wind, and that's really about it. I don't expect any hail there. If there's any hail, it should be small. And then the tornado risk as well should stay on the lower side of things. It's not zero, but it's definitely very low, at least in that particular area. And again, another Storm Prediction Center outlook will come out in 20 minutes. So we'll see if they do have any new updates for us at that time. All right, power outages now in Texas have continued to climb. We are now at nearly 1 million people without power in Texas, and almost all of them are near Houston. So, again, unfortunately, you know, we're looking at a lot of power outages, a lot of people without power. So if somebody doesn't get back to you immediately and you're calling somebody in the Houston area or whatever it might be, just know that a lot of those areas are without power. Waller County in particular has like over 80% basically without power now. You know, Harris County, which is where Houston is, about almost 40% of them, actually I think it is 40%, are without power right now, if I'm doing the math right. Again, that's according to poweroutage.us. It's just a lot of power outages. And that number will probably continue to escalate as these storms do go towards areas like Port Arthur, like Cameron, and even like Lake Charles, which Lake Charles now has a new warning now for quarter-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour damaging winds. So that's a new warning there. But yeah, unfortunately, this threat it probably is not going to wind down anytime soon, at least in Texas, you know, in like Port Arthur and Beaumont. It's going to continue at least for another hour or so. So more power outages are likely going to accumulate between now and, you know, probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock tonight. And even in like Louisiana, we could definitely still see some power outages there. By the way, thank you to JS. I'm not sure what the actual name is, but thank you for picking up a Drunknado sticker and also a Max Hydration sticker on our shopmaxvelocity.net website. I do appreciate it. And thank you for your generosity. And thank you to anybody else that picked up a t-shirt. I've already seen some of you guys sending me photos of the t-shirt and wearing it. Again, appreciate you repping the merch. They're really cool. It's our most sold shirt of all time. My uncle in the Heights is out of power. Again, there's a lot of people without power. And when I say a lot, I mean, again, 1 million people in Texas is literally, when it comes to how many people are tracked, that's like 8% of the state that's without power right now. Now, well, granted, again, Houston's very populated, and suburb areas are also very populated. So basically, numerous power outages have occurred near Houston. So, again, if you can't get a hold of a friend or family member in Houston, that's probably why. is because of the power outages, and that's probably going to take a little while to get all those, all the power back. How's the golfing going? It's going well. I'm sunburnt, but it is going well. Today was a bit of a struggle, but yesterday was a Tiger Woods type caliber day. Harmony, I don't know what that even means. That was scary. Yeah, I mean, that's why we went live. I mean, I did an emergency live stream because I thought it was necessary, and it definitely was. And again, I wasn't planning on going live really at all over this this vacation I'm on, but it was definitely needed today, 100%. And we're gonna be live again at least for another 20 to 30 minutes, if not maybe a bit longer. Just waiting on that Storm Prediction Center outlook, and we'll see what everything looks like by then, which is still at least 20 minutes away or so. So. What's the aqua colored warning? That is a special marine warning. Those are issued for like boaters and stuff, and the winds that actually they put on these are knots, and these usually do mention something about like water spouts if that's a possibility. So you'll see wind gusts up to 40 knots because boaters use knots, and they also use nautical miles, which is NM. So, and the storm is moving east at 55 knots, so they also use it for that too. This one's actually excessive 50 knots. So that's mostly for boaters and, those sorts of things. I don't know where Lake Jackson is unified, but there's basically a chance for at least an isolated tornado anywhere in, this area here. That's about it. I mean, maybe a little bit further east, but, it's basically anywhere in southeast Texas back into southern Louisiana. If you haven't been hit by storms yet, or if you have at least not been hit by this line of storms yet, you at least still have some chance of a tornado if you're east of that, or even in the storms. It's a low chance, but the chance is still definitely there. But again, I do think the tornado risk beyond now should stay low. Should is the key word. Brace signature northeast of Elton. Where in the world is Elton? Elton, Louisiana? No, that's just hail. I'm guessing you're talking about Elton, Louisiana. That's all just hail, and that's also all outflow driven. That's just gonna be wind. The storms going towards Lake Charles as well do look just like wind. Again, up to 60 miles per hour. It was initially a storm that was warned for damaging winds up to 80 miles per hour. The good news is that number has dropped. So, good news. But it's right now at 60. Still damaging. Lots of lightning too. Lots and lots of lightning. We have now a flash flood warning for Beaumont, Texas. Again, a lot of rain has already fallen there. They are expected to get between 1 to 2 inches of rainfall per hour. So flooding is going to become a concern there. And I would also expect a new severe thunderstorm warning near and just south of Port Arthur more than likely here soon. That'll probably be for the damaging wind threat as this activity does continue to move eastbound. Neighbor's large tree unroofed in, I don't even know what that means. I'm guessing man uprooted. Unroofed, an unroofed tree. Checking in from West Texas. How you doing? Welcome back. North of Lake Charles and waiting. Yeah, Lake Charles again should be predominantly just a wind threat. The severe thunderstorm warning just expired to the east of Houston. I'm assuming they're going to issue a new one here in a moment. Yep, there you go. So they have issued a new warning. It still has a tornado possible label. It is going to be for damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour near High Island, Texas, and near Winnie. So if you are in that yellow shaded polygon here, again, continue to stay away from windows in case there's maybe a brief tornado. And even if there isn't one, we're definitely still looking at a damaging wind threat here as this continues to move eastbound. Hey, Alyssa, appreciate that. No problem at all. Got a lot of damage reports, too, back over near Austin. Look at this massive storm over near Menard, Texas. You know, the one thing I would say about this activity back near, like, Menard, for example, is that it probably will not be super significant by the time it gets to, like, Temple and Austin, but it could still be producing some severe weather there. So you might get another round of storms here out of this activity. Kind of in a couple areas back here to the west. But there is definitely a chance here for at least some level of severe weather out of that. Back over in West Texas near, like, San Angelo and such. And that could impact areas near Temple, Round Rock, and Austin. We also have a new warning just north of San Angelo. So, yeah, again, a lot of that stuff definitely could be a potential threat. So I'd definitely stay weather aware if you're over in those areas. Severe weather is definitely not done in Austin. You still at least have some level of a risk. And again, the next Storm Prediction Center outlook will be in approximately, drumroll please, 13 minutes. So approximately 13 minutes is when we'll have our next Storm Prediction Center outlook, and we'll see what the threat level is there soon. I do think the tornado risk will still probably be a little 5% along the Gulf Coast, but I do think overall this tornado risk should be kind of going down. You know, the tornado watch here goes until 10 o'clock tonight. Could they issue a new watch after that? Sure, but I think a lot of these storms at this point are outflow driven, which means that a lot of it should be wind. Maybe an isolated tornado. And there is still technically a tornado risk in central northern Arkansas and southern Missouri. So that is still in play today. Houston is officially safe. You should get a green screen behind you. That'd be fantastic, but again, I'm on a golfing trip. I'm on vacation. The only reason why I'm live right now is because of the emergency live stream that we did. This is not my normal studio, and this is not where I usually stream. Once again, I don't even have lighting. I mean, again, this is not like a... The only reason why I'm live is because it was more of an emergency. I wouldn't have gone live if it was just like a, you know, an ordinary storm. But it really got kind of crazy. So no, this is not our normal studio. You know, don't think it is. It's not. This is not where we do live streams. If you watch my last live stream or one before that, you know, those ones are actually in our studio. I don't know how new you are to the channel, but yeah. It sounds like the wind gusts in the Houston area, by the way, were around 80 to 100 miles per hour. So that sounds like it's at least somewhat confirmed. There's video from Sonny Brown of that. I mean, just look at this. It's insane. Look at that wind. That likely was 80 to 100 miles per hour there. That's just unbelievable. There's also a lot of broken windows in Center Point. Total Energies towers in downtown Houston, maybe others seeing trees and other debris. There's a lot of windows, though, broken in the Houston downtown area. And if you want to see all those photos and videos, they are on our Twitter page. Again, that is at MaxVelocityWX on Twitter. There's a lot of photos there. And we are now officially over 1 million customers without power in Texas. So that includes the, again, primarily Southeast Texas, but we do now officially have over 1 million people without power. So that's a relatively high number there. And that's, again, all primarily near Houston in Southeast Texas. According to poweroutage.us. That's just unbelievable. It did look like a hurricane. Yeah, it sure did. And Harris County, just for reference, is around almost 800,000 people without power, which again is about 40% of that county, which again would be the Houston area. So about 40% of people in Houston basically are without power. And it looks like we officially had a flying trampoline in Houston. From T Sweets on Twitter. Flying trampoline. There you go. Again, that's why we have a flying trampoline meter. Never leave your trampoline outside. Especially in storms like this. Hatch them down. Or at least hatch them down if you have them outside. Otherwise they're gonna fly away. I'm on a tugboat. Assisting a ship. The weather is bad here. I'm honestly, again, not surprised by that. If you're anywhere near Houston, just offshore, the weather's definitely gonna be bad. Got high winds and everything. I feel for you guys if you're, you know, on a boat or whatever right now. That's just... being on a boat in this sort of weather is just not fun. Not fun at all. Dallas, Fort Worth, you're done with weather for today. Done with weather. I mean, done with rain. Done with rain for today. You still have weather, but the rain's done for your area. Thank you, Mystic, for becoming a Velocity member. I do appreciate it, and welcome back to the Velocities. Yeah, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe down below. Again, we'll keep you posted with the latest with severe weather coverage. Again, this is not our typical studio. Obviously, I have, you know, 7,000 of you guys watching. This is not where, again, we do our typical live streams. Again, I am on vacation. This is just an emergency live stream. I was not planning on going live today, but the situation was definitely needed for us to go live with the significant weather that happened there in Houston not too long ago. But again, I do want to mention I'm gone basically until Sunday, maybe even Monday, but we'll be back in our studio by around Monday or so. Most cruises go through Florida, I think. I could be wrong. But admire the lighting in here. Admire the picture on the wall. Like, just admire the setup. It's fantastic. It's just a fantastic setup here. Where am I coming from, you guys? Today? I'm coming right now from South Carolina. That's where we're at. So, we are in South Carolina. Which I've been posting updates on our social media pages. If you want to stay tuned with my trip, you can go to Max Velocity WX on Twitter and Facebook. I'll be posting updates there over the next few days. No, this is with family. Yeah, this is a family trip. It's not like a vacation. I'm not going to the Masters tournament or, you know, PGA Championship or anything like that. Is the stream over? No, it's not. I am still awaiting the SPC Outlook, which should be in a few minutes. And we'll decide what we're doing from there. I'm not sure what exactly we're looking at there. But, yeah, I mean, again, the risk for severe weather is predominantly going to be a wind threat from here on out. It has really been all day, but it's definitely going to be mostly a wind threat from here on out. We still could get an isolated tornado. The Lake Charles storms are definitely still producing damaging winds. And so I'm just kind of waiting to see what the Storm Prediction Center basically tells us here in the next outlook. We'll see what their wind probabilities are, their hail and tornado probabilities are. We'll kind of see what those look like. And we'll assess the situation and kind of go from there. So we're just waiting on that right now. Canada's got a few tornado warnings. Yeah, we're not really covering Canada. I mean, I can turn them on real quick. I took them off intentionally so I didn't have to look at them. After I look at this one, I'll quickly glance at them. This is the latest radar update here near Lake Charles. If we get a tornado, that's the area that I'm watching for right now, by the way. That like little notch that we have developing. Draw it in black, there you go. A little notch up there. That's where I'm looking for at least some tornado risk. But we'll see what the velocities show on this next outlook. Cheese curd sized hail today. There's definitely cheese curd sized hail. These storms are primed for cheese curd sized hail. Like, we're talking very prime. Because, again, cheese curd sized hail is anything from, like, the size of, quarter or half an inch all the way up to, 1.5 inches. That's how large cheese curd is. So we are definitely looking at some cheese curd sized hail today. All right, let me just quickly hop to this warning, even though I don't think it has anything happening here. Oh, look at that. Okay, velocities haven't updated in 18 minutes. That's fantastic. How often do these update? This is like the first time it's updated in like forever. That's exciting. The Canada radar coverage is kind of sparse. I don't even know how in the world, like, that's just crazy. That radar has not updated in 18 minutes. Unless there's a different velocities radar that I was missing. Nothing for Missouri. There is going to be a threat for Missouri. Let me quickly hop up to Missouri real quick. Yeah, zoom out again. There is going to be a threat for Missouri and even Arkansas. We are watching for some storm development right now that's beginning to bubble up. We could get an isolated tornado out of this activity. Main concern, though, will be just isolated hail and wind. It is a marginal threat. It's going to exist now until about probably 1 a.m. or so, but most of the severe weather will probably be between now and like 11 or so. I mean, it's, again, a relatively low risk overall. We can hop over to the timing here and give you an idea of when these storms will be kind of rolling through these areas. So this is right now. This is by 8 o'clock tonight, which is in like 10 minutes. Right about now, this is 9, 10, 11. And storms kind of trickle off to the north and east, producing mostly a wind and hail risk, but maybe an isolated tornado. And then by the time we get closer to midnight, those storms continue to roll north, and then overnight they kind of die out. So yeah, it's a relatively low risk. I wouldn't be honestly that concerned about it. I would at least just stay, a little bit weather aware. Thank you, Dominic, also for becoming a Velocity member. I do appreciate it, and welcome to the Velocities. Appreciate all the members on our channel, and thank you for joining the Velocities. It's the best way to support the channel. Also, the Tornado Watch has just been canceled from Houston. So again, if you're in Houston right now, which I know a lot of you were or might still be watching from Houston, the watch has now been canceled for your area. Again, there's no need to be concerned, at least for the rest of tonight. You could still get some showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm overnight tonight, but the severe weather is a low risk. This is not a new office, once again. I am just on vacation. This is not a new office, please. I'd buy some cheese curd merch. It is in the works. It is in the works. We do now have another tornado possible label on the storm near Lake Charles, so we are going to watch this closely and see if it tries to do anything. It has been, added back to a tornado possible label, meaning that we could end up seeing an isolated tornado with this as it does continue to move east. Moving basically right along Interstate 10 right now, eventually going towards Welsh, Jennings, and Crowley, Texas. A new tornado watch was just issued until 3 a.m. That is so late. Let's hop over to that. One moment, please. Wow. We have a couple of big updates, actually. First big update, there's a high risk for excessive rainfall, which means flash flooding potential, back over here, right along the Texas and Louisiana border. That's still there. And again, high risk for excessive rainfall is not issued that often, so this is a pretty rare situation. Flash flooding very likely within a 25-mile radius of you, so make sure if you're in this area that you are continuing to stay vigilant. And seek higher ground if you're under any sort of flash flood warning or flash flood emergency, which could be issued at some point with these storms. All right, that's the first thing. The second thing is that we have a tornado watch that was just issued for, I believe, just Louisiana. Yeah. So here's the new tornado watch. This goes until 3 a.m. tonight. That is late. New tornado watch, though, until 3 a.m. tonight. That will include areas in eastern Louisiana, so Bogalusa, Manville, New Orleans, whatever one you want to call it. The Baton Rouge area, Yuma, and Barras. So that's going to be mainly for the threat of a couple of tornadoes, isolated hail up to the size of ping pong balls, and as well as the threat for scattered damaging winds that'll go all the way up to 75 miles per hour. So again, that'll be the threat for tonight. We are still waiting for a Storm Prediction Center outlook, and what I mean by that is basically the SPC outlook that shows us the general severe weather outline, on a daily basis. I'm just kind of waiting to see what they show on that, and we'll kind of go from there. That's the thing that we are currently waiting for. Yeah, I do think the tornado risk tonight does remain low. Even though there is a tornado watch, I still think the risk is going to be low tonight. It's not zero, but it's definitely low. Oak Forest on the northwest side of Houston has extreme damage, which that's the phrasing that this one person's using. It's not really extreme, but there's a lot of trees down on like cars and stuff, large branches, that sort of stuff. Again, I'm retweeting that stuff on our Twitter page at MaxVelocityWX of the various damage that we've had back over there in the Houston area. And there's been a lot of it, by the way. And again, the storms that we're looking at right now are the ones near Lake Charles, Louisiana. They are producing a significant damaging wind risk up to 70 miles per hour, and there's also going to be a chance for an isolated brief tornado as this activity does continue to roll east towards Iowa and as well as Welsh in Louisiana. SPC updated, I believe. Yeah, I'm still waiting. I don't see anything, but I mean, I bet it'll be soon. If it's not updated yet, it should be in just a few minutes. We are at 8 o'clock now, so should be at any moment. Also, we should have some traffic cams in the Lake Charles area. I'm going to see if we have anything on those. Unless they're still down from the other day's weather event. Here we have one looking over a bridge. Problem is it's nighttime, so it might be hard to kind of see anything. This is a live view right now in Lake Charles. Look at that wind and look at the camera shaking. Not as bad as the other day, luckily. You can kind of see, if you were at the other stream the other day, it was way worse than that. Which the camera's already glitching out, but... Oh, there we go. Yeah, the other day, the wind was way worse the other day in Lake Charles, just for the record. This is not bad. It's still probably going to produce at least minor damage, but yeah, this storm in particular warned for up to 70 mile per hour damaging winds. So that's giving you a pretty good representation right now of that wind threat here in the Lake Charles area. That's in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Yeah, that's windy. Not as bad as the other day, luckily, but still. Wind is wind. Still no SPC update, by the way. Still waiting on that. Yeah, the other day was horrible. I mean, you could go back and watch the stream. It was literally horrendous. Again, this is live, which wind's already starting to calm down there. We do have other live cams in the area, so we'll keep a close eye on that. And this is Lake Charles right now. We got the surge of wind right now going right into Lake Charles. So this right here is your Boeing segment. The surge of wind will be moving right into that area. Not really seeing a whole lot of rotation there, but we definitely could get an isolated tornado. At least cannot be ruled out. Seeing if we have any other view of that storm. Oh, yeah, that's right over the bridge. Look at that. Camera shaking and everything. That's looking at the bridge here that connects on the east side of Lake Charles. If you're in the area, you'd be familiar. That's pretty windy right there. You really can't see much other than the vehicles moving, which looks like a lot of traffic. Very heavy rain, blinding rain. That camera shaking. This is, again, winds probably in the ballpark of, 60 to 70 miles per hour. So definitely a significant storm here in Lake Charles. This is moving eastbound, by the way, so basically traveling right along Interstate 10. Hey, you Hood for the $4.99. I don't know where that is, Hood, but again, if you're basically anywhere near or south of Interstate 10, you do have a threat for damaging winds tonight. That's the main concern with maybe an isolated tornado. I don't really have time to pull all that stuff up. Again, my setup is not as good as it usually is, because I'm kind of away, so it's hard to pull that stuff up. But your general threat, again, along and south of Interstate 10 is wind, upwards of 70 miles per hour, maybe a brief tornado or two. And then, if you're north of that, it's mostly just a flooding threat at this point. Thank you, North Star, for becoming a minimum velocity member. Again, this is a live camera shot out at the bridge just east of Lake Charles. It's on Interstate 10. Again, very windy. I mean, the wind's actually not letting up much here. It's still shaking like crazy. Hey, we're still waiting on the SPC update. Just gonna kind of see what that looks like here shortly. Hey guys, if you guys do see anything on Twitter, like photos, videos, reports, you can feel free to at me at MaxVelocityWX. And I will continue to relay any information on that side of things. We do have a new SPC update, actually. I just didn't get a notification on Twitter. Nice. We'll go back to that in a second. Here's your new SPC outlook for tonight. They have officially removed the enhanced risk for severe weather. Let's get some confetti in the chat. They removed the enhanced risk. With that said, we do still have a couple of slight risks. We have one near Fort Stockton, just east of that near Midland. That is like near San Angelo for reference. That is where we still have a chance for some large hail and maybe some damaging winds. Your other slight risk is near Houston, back over near New Orleans, or New Orleans, whichever one you want to call it. Your tornado risk is a very low 2%. In this particular area near the New Orleans area. It's a 5% just south and east of Houston. Again, that's really that 5% is going to be done within the next hour. I mean, that's pretty much what we're at this point. So the greatest concern is right along and just south of Interstate 20. Even then, it's a very low threat. 2% is very minuscule. So very low chance for a tornado. The wind threat does not, there's no hatched area, so most of these storms will be damaging winds under 75 miles per hour. With that said, you still want to be prepared, have multiple ways to receive alerts, have your trampolines hatched down, all that sort of stuff. Your hail threat for tonight, again, relatively low right along Louisiana and the Texas coast, but it's still more elevated just to the east of Fort Stockton near San Angelo, where those discrete cells are still ongoing. So that is what we're looking at in terms of that hail potential for tonight. And thank you, Rockin' Dad, for the $5 donation through the donation link. I do appreciate it. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for your generosity. Oh, I do want to mention that we do still have our Drunk NATO merchandise out on shopmaxvelocity.net. A lot of you guys have just gotten these in the mail. If you guys do get any photos, if you have one already shipped to you or you're getting one soon, feel free to send me a photo on Facebook or Twitter. If you want to pick one up, the link's in the description. It is shopmaxvelocity.net for a Drunk NATO t-shirt. It is our most sold t-shirt item of all time. It's kind of crazy. So if you want to pick one up, feel free to. Again, shopmaxvelocity.net. We also have Max Hydration hats, mugs, and much more. Also, the Drunk NATO is also a part of a mug and a sticker collection, so you can pick up a mug and a sticker if you want, and that is shopmaxvelocity.net if you want to support the page. We are still watching for a tornado potential here on the north side of this storm, north of Lake Charles. I'm at least going to stay alive for a few more minutes to see if this does anything. And we'll kind of go from there, because that still looks like it could do something. So we're going to stay alive at least for a few more minutes. That's kind of just newly developing, so we're going to have to watch that closely. We do get a tornado, it would be out of that part of the storm just north of Lake Charles. Also, thank you, Zach, for the $4.99. I appreciate it. Thank you. North side of Sulphur, Louisiana is out of power. Yeah, unfortunately, Sulphur, this is the second time you guys gotten hit by storms like this. It's unbelievable, honestly. It's quite literally unbelievable. This is the second time in a row. Now, obviously, I don't think we're gonna get a tornado there in Sulphur, but regardless, you're still getting a wind threat. Literally second day in a row. Or not second day in a row, sorry. Second event in a row, which was, the last event was on Monday. Today is Thursday. So literally 3 days ago. No break. No break in Sulphur. Haven't we had a tornado in 3 different Sulphurs this year? Sulphur, Louisiana, Sulphur, Oklahoma, and I think Sulphur, Iowa, right? Haven't we had a tornado in all 3 of those Sulphurs? I could be wrong on Iowa, but I think there's been 3 different Sulphurs this year that have had tornadoes. They've all been strong, by the way. You thought I thought you were on vacation? I am. Yeah, we did an emergency live stream. It was definitely needed for the threat in Houston. Being on vacation does not mean we don't go live. We definitely had to for what happened in Houston. Alright, we'll see what this... The velocity scan's coming in right now. We'll see what this looks like. There was a confirmed tornado, at least visually, by a video. On the west side of Houston, that was near Cypress. Here's the latest scan. It's all rain wrapped. It's kind of broad. It looked like it was trying to wrap there a scan ago, but it's kind of broadening again. I don't know. We'll wait another scan or two here. Thank you, Ed, for becoming a moderate velocity member. I do appreciate it. And welcome to the Velocities. Thank you for becoming a member. Also, if you do want to support the page above and beyond, you can become a member for as little as $2.99. It is the cheapest membership, so you can basically get on YouTube. You can click the join button down below. You can also click the top link in the description below, or the pinned link in the chat if you want to become a member. Again, it's really cheap, and it's the best way to support the page. I would appreciate if you do consider at least becoming a member. Helps us be able to do all the upgrades that we do at the studio, and also our, you know, our kind of like touring setup here with our laptop and our monitor and our keyboard and all that. Like, again, we travel with all this stuff, so you know, whenever we go away, at least I travel with all the laptop gear just in case we have to go live for a day like today. So we can always upgrade this in the future too, but if you want to support the page, best way to do so is with the membership link, which is again in the description. This is Stormrunner Media, by the way. They're in Houston. I'll check out them real quick. That's the storm activity there near Houston. I think they're on the back side of it. Look at that. There's the storm activity there in Houston. Max is out on vacation looking for the future Mrs. Velocity. I just don't think so, but I do appreciate, yeah. I just don't think so. But, thank you.
Yeah, well, I'm headed to Highway 73.
Got lightning. A lot of lightning there on that storm.
We kind of got into
Hey, Andrew, for $4.99. Tornado warning near Winnipeg. With toonie-sized hail. Yeah, again, we don't really cover Canada unless there's nothing happening in the United States. I might consider it. It's just, it's just not really an area that I cover.
But again, chasing in the Houston Metro is not a thing. You don't chase the Houston
I can't really get
Metro,
audio,
you get stuck in traffic.
and my video's glitching, so I can't even see what they're looking at. There's a lot of lightning, though, there in Houston. Southeast of Houston.
I'm just amazed by this. It sounds ridiculous. I don't think I've seen this much, this type of light.
Everyone's lonely these days. Well, I'm in that boat, which I don't really mind. I'm too busy anyways. I mean, I literally work, even, you know, on vacation. I still work, like, the majority of the day. Facebook, YouTube, a bunch of stuff.
Is it just because it's a low-top storm? Yeah.
I'm not in Florida, no. I'm in South Carolina.
Can you see how...
I am on a golfing trip
I don't know. It just feels weird
with
being
family.
close to the ocean. Yeah. There's definitely...
Pretty light show, though, here near Houston.
I feel like we've seen it.
It's in Winnie, Texas, by the way, which is east of Houston by, like, I don't know, 30 or 40 miles.
We haven't...
Numerous trees and power lines down in Baytown, Texas, by the way.
I think that we have... Or not think, I just assume that we have it.
Get yourself a drink when you can. I had a Diet Coke for dinner. I was thinking about getting, like, a Moscow Mule, but I didn't. I'm glad I didn't, because I probably wouldn't have been alive if I had a Moscow Mule. Tornadoes somewhere flashing like this. Lightning has no direct correlation to tornadoes, just for the record. So I highly doubt we have a, you know, a tornado in that area. What they're looking at right now near Winnie is just lightning in the distance, primarily from the storms either to their east, that's the direction I believe they're traveling near Winnie. They're going basically towards the Louisiana storms, which is that MCS that's developed. The direction that they were just looking, which is kind of down to the south, those are the storms that are mostly offshore. You can see the American flag there too. That gives you a pretty good indication of the winds just off the ground level there, which are probably around 20 miles per hour. But all that lightning is just from the storms that are, for the most part, moving offshore. The only storms that are still left in Texas right now, near, Houston, are primarily just along the coast near, like, Port Arthur, for example. Which you can't see because I don't have my radar on for some reason, but I don't know why I can't get it on, but yeah. It's a complete light show there right now. Thank you, Next Degree Gaming, for becoming a minimum velocity member. I do appreciate it. Welcome to the velocities. Max hydration. It is max hydration. I just the system I have doesn't work on this laptop. I do apologize, but we do not have that capability on the laptop. It's only on the studio computer.
Whatever town are rolling through.
Thank you, Ion, also for becoming a velocity member.
Decent little amount here.
Don't worry, the max hydration thing will return when I'm not on my laptop. And we're on the remote setup. Thank you, Con Paul, also for becoming a Velocity member. We have 9 new members tonight. I do appreciate everybody becoming a member if you did. It does help the page out a lot. Am I in Myrtle Beach? I am not in Myrtle Beach, no. I don't actually know if I've ever been to Myrtle Beach, just for the record. I think this is the perfect time for a Moscow Mule. I would have to make it myself. I just don't feel like doing that. I've never actually made a Moscow Mule myself, so that could be a disaster if we did that. Also, we are back down to 5 severe thunderstorm warnings. The majority of the severe weather that's left right now is in Louisiana. We, again, have a warning right now near Texas. Texas, wow, that's fantastic. I just said Louisiana and that's in Texas. We have a warning near Lake Charles. I don't know where I got Texas from. That's for damaging winds up to 70. There is still a tornado possible label on this, so, maybe an isolated tornado on, like, the northeast side here of Lake Charles, back over south of Reeves. It's a low chance. Let's see what the velocity show here. What's in a Moscow Mule? I have no clue, honestly. It just tastes good. Yeah, I'm in the PGA Championship, if you didn't see. Yeah, we're in the PGA Championship. We're 3 under right now through the first round. It's fantastic. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning near Cottonport, going back through the north side of Lafayette. Again, main concern there is damaging winds. And flash flood warnings obviously really ramping up here across East Texas. The good news is that most of the rain is done. The bad news is that there's poor drainage, meaning that there's going to be some flash flooding. And we also have 2 warnings back over in West Texas near Brady for golf ball sized hail, 70-mile-per-hour winds, and then near Bollinger and San Antonio for 60-mile-per-hour winds. These storms relatively insignificant compared to the storms to the east. We also have a warning in South Dakota, apparently. So there's 2 warnings in Texas, 2 in Louisiana, and then 1 in South Dakota. That's about it. I knew there was vodka. That's about it. There's no tornado warning in Houston. That ended a while ago. So there's no tornado warning there. And you're actually not even in the tornado watch anymore, so you don't really have to be too concerned about any sort of tornado threat from here on out. Thank you, John, also for becoming a Velocity member. I do appreciate it, and welcome to the Velocities. Check on South Dakota. I'm not going up to South Dakota. I would if I was on my, like, normal computer. This laptop literally can barely handle going from one place to another. It's dying quick. I'm glad I got my, I'm glad I got the computer at, like a week or 2 ago. Because, honestly, this laptop, if we kept streaming on it last week, or even on Monday, for example, like on Monday, if we didn't have that computer on Monday, I don't know if this laptop would have made it. It's really struggling. It's struggling to do a lot of basic stuff now. Which I had it for about 3 years, but we've just used it so much. And the CPU, for example, it's like a 2070 or 2060. It's pretty dated. The CPU is definitely dying. It's just a dying laptop. It was really good a year ago. I mean, we had a lot of good success with it. Now it's just struggling. mean, my CPU usage right now is 90%. Now it's down to 60. It's kind of fluctuating. Memory 60%. Everything's just kind of getting maxed out now. Am I at my parents' house? No. Again, no. Okay, there you go. New tornado warning in Louisiana.
A new tornado warning has been issued.
We have a new tornado warning now in Louisiana near Lake Charles. So if you are in this warning, seek shelter away from windows and on the lowest floor possible, and in an interior room of your home or building. This is right in Lake Charles, and it actually might be this little pocket of rotation that we have on the east side of Lake Charles. That's, I'm guessing, it's not the rotation that we're looking at previously. It's a little notch that is developed here, or little area of rotation there on the east side of Lake Charles, moving down to the southeast. So yeah, if you're in this pink polygon, seek shelter. That definitely could produce. I'm trying to go to. We do have live cams in this area. I'm gonna see if we have any view of this. But we might. This is like right in the downtown area. If you're in Lake Charles, Louisiana, you need to seek shelter. This is a live view right now, basically looking into this. So if there's a tornado, we might see it. I think this is looking south. Let me just double check. Looking eastbound. This would be westbound, presumably? Or is this right? I don't have a clue. This is kind of looking into it right here, in the general vicinity of where that tornado would be. So we'll watch this closely. It's on I-210, or it's on Interstate 210. Here's the latest velocity scan. We'll see what the rotation looks like. This is the latest scan. Doesn't look that impressive. I mean, I don't really see much here. There was like a little intensification there near Lake Charles. Latest scan not showing nearly as much. This is the storm relative velocities. For comparison. Like, I'm not really seeing much. We may have had like a brief little spin up there. I just don't see much on this latest scan. Let's go back to another live cam here. Got another one here. This is on Interstate 210 and Highway 2 or Highway 14. I'm just not seeing much. This would be kind of in the vicinity of where, if there's a tornado, it would be in this vicinity. Thank you, Ion, for the $5 super chat. That's me. I just got hit on Monday. I know. This area is getting hit again. It's unbelievable. Now, I don't think this is as bad as what we just saw the other day. Just for the record. I don't think this is as bad as the other day. I know Lake Charles is under the warning. I get it. You guys were just under, you just had 3 tornadoes in the vicinity of Lake Charles literally on Monday. But this is not as bad as Monday. It's also later in the day. This is happening right now at, 8:20 p.m. or so. Think about it, the other day it was happening at like 5 o'clock. It was more primed time anyways for severe weather. Also, we do have a new velocity scan coming in. We'll see if there's anything here. Welcome back, Toys R Us. Yeah, I mean, this is like the same area. We had a confirmed tornado right about here the other day. We also had one over near Sulphur. We had a couple. I don't know where this one was. It was somewhere in here. But, like, it's quite literally unbelievable. But, I don't know. This warning probably not going to continue very long. I don't really see much here. Just continue to stay in your safe place just in case. But velocities-wise, I'm not seeing much. And if there is a tornado, it's going to be rain-wrapped. So don't try to look for it. But I'm not seeing much, at least right now, near Lake Charles. But I would continue to stay in your safe place. Again, that's just my analysis here. Still at least got a low chance at a tornado, but I'd say it's just not anything too concerning. Now, if we have a tornado, it's gonna be somewhere rain wrapped in here. So it's gonna be on like the southeast side, basically, of Lake Charles. So we'll probably stay on the velocities and just wait for the next update. Even if we don't see a tornado, we are still looking at damaging winds around 70 across this area near Lake Charles, so You know, I'd honestly at least just stay away from windows at the bare minimum if you're anywhere in these areas, but also on the lowest floor, in case there are any falling trees, power lines, anything like that. Those are all still possibilities. Is that a lowering straight ahead on that camera? Talking about the storm chaser? Those are just low cumulus clouds. They're driving right now through like East Texas on Interstate 10, so they're not even that close to storms. I mean, they're close enough to see lightning and stuff, but they're not like near a storm that could be producing something. Houston has over 750,000 people without power. Yeah, there's a lot of people without power there. There are a lot of people without power. Where is... Oh, that storm over here to the east. I don't know how you say that name, but no, that's just rain and wind and lightning. In Opelousas, Louisiana, hopefully? No, that's there's not much happening there. Mostly just wind, lightning, and rain. By the way, this tornado warning goes until 8:45 Central Time, so about 18 more minutes, unless it's canceled, which I really won't be surprised if it got canceled. And once again, that's going to be for Charles, Bell City, and Gooseport, Louisiana. If you're in this warning, continue to stay in your safe place, away from windows and on the lowest floor possible. In case it does try to produce something, which again, I'm highly kind of doubting right now, but you never know. Just the area of rotation that was warned just occluded so fast. And this is why there was a warning. It was right over the Pine Acres Trailer Park, right when the warning got issued approximately. That's where we had rotation, and then it kind of just occluded. So I'm not seeing much, but you know, in case there's something happening here that we just can't see on radar, I would just make sure that you're staying in your safe place just in case. Just as a precaution. Away from windows, lowest floor possible, and in an interior room of your home or building. Pronounced Oompa Loompa? I don't think that's how it's pronounced. Anything else looking like rotation? Honestly, not from what I'm seeing. There was like some broad circulation on the north side of this near like Kinder and Reeves a little while ago. It's still broad. There's not much there. We could get maybe a brief little QLCS tornado on the front side of this too, but there you go. Tornado warning's gone. All right, so that did not last long at all, but yeah. I mean, I'm not really seeing much when it comes to the tornado risk here. It would just be brief embedded tornadoes in this line. You know, the Oompa Loompa area over here in Louisiana, that's mostly just wind and lightning, which even then the wind isn't even severe anymore. Texas storms are not really rotating either. It's just wind and hail. So, yeah. By the way, we are currently 100 subscribers away from 235,000. So if you've not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. This is our subscriber count. So if you have not already, make sure to subscribe down below. I would appreciate it. Try to hit that goal here before I get off tonight, which who knows when that'll be. Should be soon though. I think most of the storms here will be wind and hail from here, and maybe a brief tornado. But this would be really the main area for any tornado risk. You know, if the winds are going to get real bad south of Baton Rouge, it'll be mostly winds that are like scattered up to like 70 miles per hour. If that's considered bad to you, then yes. But once again, that's like the maximum threat. It could get to like 75 maybe in an isolated spot. Maybe 80. Just a lower risk. How's it going, Dan? Welcome back. Have there been any confirmed tornadoes today? We had one just to the west of Houston in Cypress. That's the only one that I know of that has at least been confirmed with photographic evidence. There's probably been more than one, though, with the damage that I've seen. Thank you, Daniel, for the $10 super chat. Do you think the tornado warning cell in southern Manitoba will reach Minnesota before it weakens? Are you talking about the Canada one? Let me check real quick. I don't have Canada on here. I'll have to go to the Canada radar. Yeah, I'll briefly check. I don't think it'll even get down to you. Granted, the velocities radar has not updated in like an hour here. I don't know if there's a different velocities radar. I think there's only one. Their velocities radar's broken. It'll probably reach you. I mean, it's probably going to stay strong enough to the point where it could produce maybe an isolated, you know, wind gust or something, but the tornado risk should stay low out of that in very far northwestern Minnesota. I have another flash flood warning east of Lake Charles, by the way. Flash flooding continuing to be a threat here in Louisiana. Thank you, Kella, for the $10 super chat. Thank you for everything. Southeast Texas appreciates you. I'm glad I can help. Even though I'm on vacation, I'm glad I can help. The tornado warning in Lake Charles has already been canceled, so that's done. We are done with that. All right, guys, let's hit the goal real quick. 48 more of you need to subscribe for us to hit 235,000. Make sure to subscribe if you've not already. And again, if you want to support the page above and beyond, again, you can become a member for as little as $2.99. It is the join button down below. It's the top link in the description. It supports the page a lot. You also get access to a bunch of member-only streams, member-only weather forecasts, stuff like that just doesn't go up on the main channel. Will be on there. And also there's bloopers videos, stuff like that. And that's all included with various membership tiers with the top link in the description below. And it's also the join button down below. We're only about 15,000 subscribers from 250, by the way, which is kind of crazy. When we hit 250, we are going to release 250,000 subscriber merch. So be on the lookout for that. A lot of people were asking about it. Here's the latest velocity scan, which we might have to get to after we hit 235. I think we're going to hit 235 before this comes through. How did I shoot today? I did not play as good today as yesterday. Yay! Over 235,000. I can't really celebrate super loudly, but I do appreciate everybody subscribing to the channel. Another milestone. Yeah, I shot it's a par 72. I shot an 84 yesterday and a 92 today. 92 felt a lot worse though than, I mean, yesterday I shot like a 39 on the front nine, so my best golf was on that front nine yesterday. Same course too, I mean, it wasn't different. Yeah, it looks like pretty broad circulations here. Again, we'd be looking for like a low tornado risk kind of on the leading edge here, maybe something on the back end, but I'm not really seeing a whole lot right now. Again, mostly a wind threat, maybe a brief tornado from here on out, but it should be a relatively low risk. So not super concerned about it, but obviously make sure that you're staying weather aware. If you're in Louisiana, have multiple ways to receive alerts. A lot of lightning, obviously, still some wind, maybe an isolated tornado, but again, the threat should be kind of going down from here overall here in Louisiana. Tornado watch goes until 3 a.m., so obviously stay weather aware. Quick reminder, and thank you, by the way, to EF, that's the initials, I don't know what the name is, but thank you for picking up a Drunk NATO t-shirt. Just a reminder, if you want to pick up any sort of merchandise, it's all really comfortable merch. This is not like crappy quality. You can go to shopmaxvelocity.net. You can pick yourself up a Drunk NATO t-shirt. It comes with, again, really cool design there. There's two different ones. There's one with the Max Velocity logo on the side, and there's also one without it, which is cheaper. And there's also Max Hydration shirts, or not shirts, sorry, hats and mugs and stuff like that you can pick up on the shop. There's also Drunk NATO mugs and stickers. You can click these different tabs and you can find all that sort of stuff. Again, that is going to be the one of the links in the description, shopmaxvelocity.net. Our moderator will also post a link in the chat, so you can go check that out. Otherwise, that's really it for today's stream. Again, it was mostly just an emergency live stream, so I really do appreciate everybody tuning in. Again, I would be live longer, but I'm on vacation. I'm just trying to relax, and I don't think this is super significant to the point where we need to continue a live stream here. The main reason why we went live again was for Houston, and that was obviously really significant, and I'm glad we did go live, because that really got kind of crazy there for a little while. Other than that, though, I do appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you subscribe to the channel, like the stream, anything like that, I do appreciate it. If you super chatted or became a member, I really do appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you to anybody that becomes a member. Again, it's a it really is a big way to help us be able to upgrade stuff in our studio, and I'm trying to do a bunch of upgrades, and all the membership funds really for the most part are going towards upgrades. So you know, again, if you became a member, it really does help out the page a lot, and I'm not just saying that to say it, it really does. So I do appreciate all of you guys that are members of the channel. If you want to become a member, again, the top link in the description below, or it's the join button. And you also get benefits, so check those out. But otherwise, I do appreciate you guys all tuning in. Stay safe for the rest of the night. If we need to, I'm not going to go live again tonight. I don't think there's going to be anything that crazy, but if we need to tomorrow, I might go live, but it's kind of a low chance. I don't see anything super significant tomorrow happening. It should be mostly the morning. We could see some storms in the late afternoon and evening. There is another slight risk right along the Gulf Coast with a marginal threat that goes back up into Arkansas and Texas, but it's a low threat. Maybe some isolated wind, hail, maybe a couple of tornadoes, but again, relatively similar to today, in my opinion. Maybe even a step down from today's threat. So that's what we're looking at for tomorrow. Stay safe. Have a great rest of your night. We'll have a video probably at some point tomorrow, so stay tuned for that as well. We'll see you guys all again soon. Have a great night, and we'll see you guys all again later.